Hello everyone, it's Brian Akeem here. Welcome to Livestream number 8. It is January 21st tonight. And yeah, sorry for the few minutes delay. Like I said, technical difficulties. I don't know what it is, but Streamlabs always gives me trouble when I'm trying to stream the last couple minutes before a stream. It's always like the toughest to set up. I have no idea why, but yeah, thank you guys for coming. And I also want to give a special thanks and shout out to Epic Zombie Killer. Thank you so much for the shout out in one of your videos, and I really appreciate all the support you've been giving me. Like I said, I really appreciate it, man, and thank you so much. And as well as as well as all the rest of you, who stop by my streams and who comment and like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. So I'm back from my trip from Pennsylvania, and I decided to use this picture in from The Walking Dead. Let's see, season 9, episode 16, the finale, called The Storm. Yeah, during the snowstorm, I decided to use this image because that's basically what the trip was. Like, it was just snowy. Like, it was basically like just as snowy as the picture. So I decided, to use that. But yeah, I'm really glad you guys came. So I see that Dan and Epic Zombie Killer are here, and I watched earlier today. I watched Dan's video about the top 10 best episodes of The Walking Dead, and I basically gave him my list. And a lot of his episodes I agree with, and some were different from mine, obviously. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, I definitely want to see. I definitely want to see Dan's top 10 worst episodes of The Walking Dead. I definitely want to see your top 10 worst list, Dan, because I have a feeling I know what's going to be. I have a feeling I know what's going to be number one. I'm just going to say it's not just going to be a Beth episode, but I think it's going to be the most infamous Beth episode. So yeah. So let's see. Let's see. Is the audio okay? Epic Zombie Killer and Dan, if you guys can hear me, can you let me know if the audio sounds good? Oh, let's see. Epic Zombie Killer says, "Hey Brian, do you see the group ever going back to Atlanta, or was season 5 the final time we'll see it?" I definitely think. Thank you for the question. I definitely think that we're never going to see Atlanta again. It kind of doesn't make sense to go to Atlanta because they're almost 11 years in the apocalypse now, and there's not going to be any supplies left pretty much from that city. Plus, I don't think there's any other survivors from that city left, and also they need a reason to go back to Atlanta, so it doesn't really make sense. I think that we're never going to see Atlanta, and I mean, it would be cool, I guess, but for the story, it just doesn't make sense why the characters would ever go back there. And honestly, after everything the characters have been through in Atlanta, I really don't think they ever want to go back there. I mean, they've had some bad experiences from that city. So thank you for the question, Epic Zombie Killer. Dan says that that'll be posted tomorrow. I'm guessing you're talking about the worst top 10 worst episodes video, and yeah, I can't wait to see what you have. I know what's I have a feeling I know what's number one, and it's a lot of people's worst episode of The Walking Dead. I think it's Trev's Chan's worst episode. So yeah, oh dang it, I'm getting this error thing that says you might get some buffering. Just letting you guys know there might be some buffering. So yeah, Dan says the audio is great. Well, thanks Dan, I appreciate it, and I'm glad the audio is fine because yeah, I'm still using my Xbox One headset, and it's got like a dial between like increasing the volume or lowering the volume. So I keep it on the max volume, and sometimes I'm worried that I accidentally put it on low, but there's no way to tell if it's on like really low or really loud. So yeah. Epic Zombie Killer says, funny, Trev's Chan 2 made a video on top 10 worst episodes, and they were all from seasons 7 and 8. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Let's see. I mean, Trev's Chan, there was at least one episode from season 4 from his list, but obviously that didn't make it. The video was more about what the majority of people think, and I definitely think that season 7 and 8 not just were the worst seasons, but they definitely had some of the worst episodes of The Walking Dead. And even though like I didn't agree with them killing off Glenn, the season 7 premiere, The Day Will Come Where You Won't Be, was still a very good episode. Like, I'm not gonna put it in the worst episodes category just because my favorite character was killed off. And just because of the way they did it. So even though I didn't agree with killing off Glenn, and especially how they did it, I still respect what they did in the season 7 premiere. But I do not respect everything that happened pretty much after that in the Gimple era. So yeah, thanks for the reply. Dan says, yeah, mine are more mixed up, but there's some episodes from those seasons still. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, Dan. I mean, we've talked about it. Season 7 and 8 were, it just, like, those seasons had bad writing, characters doing stupid things, and a lot of them were bottle up episodes, plus killing off Carl, and just all those things really hurt the series, especially those 2 seasons. And, it makes sense, but I definitely think that, like, as far as like some worst episodes, like there are still some terrible episodes in The Walking Dead besides episodes from seasons 7 and 8. But I think season 7 and 8 definitely have the most concentration of terrible episodes at anywhere in the Walking Dead show. So yeah, that was a tough time for Walking Dead fans. But yeah, thanks for the reply. Dan says, especially Daryl and Tara, lol. Yeah, I mean, Daryl was. I don't know what they were doing with him. Like, honestly, like, they had him be responsible for killing Glenn, and then Daryl was kind of becoming rogue, I guess, or he wanted to show no mercy to the Saviors, but then he, went with Maggie, or he was with Maggie when they were going to show Rick. So I don't know. That was just weird. I don't really understand where his character was going in season 7 and 8. And as far as Tara, I mean, I don't understand that either. Pretty much. I mean, she found out about Denise dying, then she grew to hate Dwight. Then she decided, not to hate Dwight. I mean, that was pretty much her. At least they did something with her, even though it wasn't great. But Daryl, he didn't. I don't think he had any character development in those seasons. Thanks for the reply, Dan. Sorry. Thanks for the reply. Sorry, my throat was. I don't know what that was. Epic Zombie Killer says, plus one thing I hated about Daryl in season 8 is he was the main reason why Alexandria got destroyed by the Saviors. I still don't understand how that worked. Like, how did they get out? Like, I never understood that. But you're right, Epic Zombie Killer. I just don't understand how the Saviors were able to get out of the sanctuary when it was overrun by walkers, just because of what Daryl did. Because I like Daryl, he crashed the truck into the sanctuary in the factory, and that resulted in walkers. I'm guessing that resulted in walkers all piling up on one side of the building, and the Saviors were able to exit the other side. So I'm guessing something like that happened. Plus, Simon mentioned that Eugene got them out, but they never said how. So that was kind of a cop out, honestly. Like, we constantly get told that Eugene is the smartest character in the show, but we never really see that at times, especially not in season 7 and 8. Like, we really did not see how he was, useful or the smartest character. Like, I don't know, they weren't doing too much with him. I mean, they were giving him something to do with him being in the sanctuary, but it what he suggested, how he was with Negan, he didn't seem smart, like not that smart. I feel like Negan should have used him for making bullets, not for other things. Dan says, plus when he fought Rick, it's like Daryl, you better let him go because he's actually thinking about the battle, unlike him. Do you mean in season 8, Dan? Are you talking about the part where are you talking about the part where Daryl and Rick took down those saviors that had the machine gun and the dynamite, and then Daryl tried to stop he stopped Rick from going to the junkyard because they fought. Because I don't know, that was a little bit weird. Um, I mean, I still don't understand. Honestly, it wasn't just Daryl. Like, even Rick was making stupid decisions in season 8. I mean, going back to the junkyard people multiple times, putting himself in jeopardy like that. I mean, what if Rick was captured by saviors while walking to the junkyard? Like, what if that happened? I mean, Rick's whole plan would have backfired in a different way. So I don't understand what they were thinking about that with the whole junkyard thing. They never should have created them in the story. They're a bad idea, and they were a terrible group, one of the worst groups ever in the show, and they were created by Scott Gimple. So, like, I mean, we sometimes rip on Robert Kirkman for creating two comic booky characters like the princess or Ezekiel. He has a tiger. Sometimes, yeah, Robert Kirkman goes too far, making them unrealistic. But Jadis was definitely like not helping that situation. People were hating it, and I understand why. So yeah, and oh, by the way, I've there are oh, hey Dan. Dan says, yeah, when he wanted to use the explosives on the sanctuary, yeah, and then Rick tossed the explosives away, and then they blew up. So yeah, I mean, like it doesn't make sense. Like Daryl was, I get he wanted to kill Negan, but they still needed to take out all the outposts, and like they weren't even making really a dent still on the Saviors for like the first 3 episodes of season 8. They didn't even make a dent still somehow, and they should have used the explosives for something else, like blowing up a hole in the wall. Like they should have done that at the beginning, I think, because you because there's already walkers. Blowing up the sanctuary with a dynamite too is just putting more people in jeopardy. Let's see. Epic Zombie Killer says, by the way, I'm surprised that dog survived the first half of season 10. He better live to season 11. Yeah, I agree, Epic Zombie Killer. I mean, like we might lose Jerry or Connie in the second half of season 10, so they better keep dog, because like as much as I like what Angela King has been doing to the show, she kind of has been killing off you know certain like characters that we were liking. And I mean, she did it with Henry, and she I mean, there are a couple others, like let me I mean, like if Connie does die or Jerry does die in the second half. I'm just saying, like, I mean, there was Paul too, but I guess they had no choice. But I'm just saying, like it wasn't just a Gimple thing. Like in The Walking Dead, they have constantly killed off characters that we were liking. So I'm hoping that Angela Kang does not follow the same path, because you need likable characters in the show, and Dog's one of them. Let's see. Dan says, I hope so too. Yeah, man. Dog better not die. I mean, he got a Funko Pop, right? Yeah, Dog got a Funko Pop, so they cannot. I can't see them killing off, Dog. Like Sadiq didn't get one, I don't think. So if Dog got a Funko Pop, then I can't see them killing him, killing off Dog, like as if it's nothing, or you know what I mean? Because if you have a Funko Pop, you're probably a pretty safe character, right? So yeah, let me know if you agree. Epic Zombie Killer says, like Dog is already becoming iconic. He's getting his own merch. They made a pop of him, and they made a Christmas blanket of Dog. Yeah, I know, Epic Zombie Killer. I mean, I didn't know about the Christmas blanket though, but I knew about the Funko Pop. And yeah, they don't do that for just any character in The Walking Dead. I mean, sure, we've had a lot of characters get Funko Pops, but like when they give Funko Pops, they're kind of for safe characters if you think about it. So I think Dog's safe. Dan says his owner is Daryl, so he's probably safe. Yeah, I mean, Daryl is, even though he's always in dangerous situations, he's always like the one person you just know is going to survive a tough situation. So I know that I remember also in World Beyond, like we can talk about it, but they confirmed that it's going to be 2 seasons, and I'm really glad that World Beyond is only going to be 2 seasons, because I don't see it surviving longer. So yeah, I mean, if you guys want to talk about World Beyond, just let me know. Dan says, I still need to review the Dog Pop, but I keep forgetting. Uh, don't worry, Dan. We'll try to remind you or something, but yeah, I definitely want to check out that video. And yeah, man. I mean, I'm sure Dog is safe because he's got a Funko Pop, And yeah, I look forward to seeing your video. So yeah, like I said earlier, if you guys want to talk about a little bit about World Beyond, it only getting 2 seasons, or about the new. I remember that, Dan. I remember that you released on your channel 7-second clip of Daryl in the second half of season 10, and it's him in the cave, outside the caves, and he's got his knife, and we see the walkers exiting the cave. So I think that Daryl escapes out of the cave and by himself, and he's leading the walkers away so that Jerry and the other characters who are trapped can get through. Because I think Daryl's probably like the most agile character there, because it makes sense. Like Jerry is not going to hop on rocks to get away from walkers, but Daryl can. Epic Zombie Killer says, like, I think Dog is more iconic than Skinmark in Fear Season 5. Yeah, I agree, Epic Zombie Killer. I mean, it makes the most sense if you think about it, because Skidmark, even though he was maybe. Yeah, I would say Skidmark was everyone's favorite character in Season 5, like, new character that was introduced. And, I mean, that tells you something about, the cast, that I mean, they introduced the pastor, Pastor Jacob. I mean, they introduced the kids. Let's see, I think they introduced Logan, or was he in season 4? I don't think he was in season 4. They introduced Virginia. Like, out of all the characters they've introduced in season 5, Skidmark was people's favorite, and you could say that some people like Dog more than some of the characters in The Walking Dead, but you can't say that they like Dog more than every other character. So yeah, Epic Zombie Killer says that's a first for AMC, them making World Beyond only 2 seasons. Usually they try to milk their shows. Yeah, I agree. I mean, honestly, I'm kind of proud of them. Like, I'm hoping that they don't prove me wrong, but I'm actually proud of them that they're realizing that, The Walking Dead main show is going on for a long time, but they might have to end it soon. Fear is doing terrible now, and The Walking Dead World Beyond, if we don't, at least just give it a test run, you know, I mean, they can't go on it like they did with Fear. You know, I mean, they have a teenage cast too, and I mean, if you guys were here from my last streams, you know that how I originally talked about the World Beyond, how I would have written it, at least the first season, what story I would have changed, and it kind of would have been completely different. But yeah, I mean, I know Dan, I know that you know it, but I don't know if Epic Zombie Killer knows it. But I mean, there's not much you can do with this, World Beyond series with the kids going out and exploring the world, and it's only going to be 20 episodes for both seasons. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad. I'm glad it doesn't look like AMC is going to milk it. They're probably going to just try this new thing and see if people like it. And I think it's going to also build up the movies too. So yeah, Dan says World Beyond getting 2 seasons is actually good news for me because it doesn't look good at all, to be honest. Yeah, I agree, Dan. I mean, World Beyond, it's just I don't know if the cast are kids, teenagers, or young adults. I really don't know. Cause I thought they were like freshmen in college or something. Because I remember seeing in the trailer like Nebraska University, like one of the characters there. So I was thinking like maybe the cast is like 17 to 18-year-olds, but I just I don't know. There's something about the actors. I don't know if they can pull it off. Cause in The Walking Dead, like teenage actors are not exactly the best, and even like characters like Beth and Alicia, who were teenagers at the beginning of the apocalypse, they were played by, or they are played by, you know women in their 20s, to make sense of it. Like they never actually get a 17-year-old person in real life to play a 17-year-old. I don't think. The actor is always older than the character pretty much, and it makes sense because you want to get an actor who's kind of experienced. I think even like the actor for Henry was like 19, and he was like playing a 17-year-old. So yeah, I mean, I just don't think like we're gonna like the characters in World Beyond. I just don't think that they're that relatable or that interesting looking. I mean, I don't know. It feels like they tried to pull off Stranger Things and it's gonna backfire on them. But at least they know it's only gonna be 2 seasons. So Epic Zombie Killer says, like when I first heard of the third series, I was like, oh, here we go again, another show for them to milk. Yeah, I agree, Epic Zombie Killer. I mean, I don't know what it is with some people saying that you're not a true fan, or if you don't like it, like I hate it when people say that. Like they're like, if you don't like them doing a third series, then don't watch it. Like that is not the issue at all. The issue is that like the main show was suffering at the time, or was having issues, and Fear was doing terrible. So doing a third show just felt like, they weren't thinking of, the whole series, in general. I mean, it's kind of like this. Imagine you have a car. Imagine you have a nice car, and you decide to buy a cheaper one, like a second car. So you have 2 cars now. One is expensive, one is cheap. Then you decide to improve your, the car that's cheaper, but like the tires in your first car start breaking, and you have electrical problems in it. Like, aren't you gonna fix the first car? You know what I mean? I don't know. It just feels odd what they're doing, or at least it was. Dan says they'll probably just after season 2, go to either the movies or maybe unfortunately Fear the Walking Dead, because I mean they already have annoying kids. LOL. Yeah, that's probable, Dan, but I can't see the World Beyond going into Fear because it kind of wouldn't work. Because if you think about it, okay, so World Beyond is 10 years in the apocalypse, and Fear the Walking Dead is like 3.5 years in the apocalypse. So they would have to do a big time skip in Fear, and then have the characters in World Beyond go to Fear. And honestly, I don't like either which. Like, I don't like the characters in World Beyond going to Fear, or Fear going to World Beyond. Like, I just don't like either of it. But I would say at the moment, I think they should just end Fear at season 6 and just take the characters to the Rick movies, or maybe World Beyond, but like at the final season or something, like the final 4 episodes, and then that builds up to the Rick movies. Because I mean, I get what AMC, I get that they want new shows, but like I don't understand why they can't do it like the Telltale game. So I know, Dan, I know that you played the first season of the Telltale game, and it was amazing. But I'm just wondering. I don't know if Epic Zombie Killer has played them, but I just think that like they AMC can do another Walking Dead story like the Telltale games, and they could have it be where we have these group of families, and a zombie apocalypse happens. We get to see the beginning of the apocalypse, and then it follows through, because they skipped over that in the Walking Dead main show, and then they mostly skipped over the apocalypse in Fear because they didn't have the budget for it. So yeah, I mean, they could honestly just write another Telltale games or something. Like AMC can just, I don't know, maybe do Lee and Clementine's story, and maybe they don't have the rights to those characters, but they can at least do something similar, you know? Let's see. Epic Zombie Killer says, I just wish Fear would end. Sorry, I just hate Fear so much. I mean, I don't blame you, Epic Zombie Killer. I mean, Alicia is really, really the only reason I watch Fear the Walking Dead. I mean, Strand is not interesting. They turned Daniel into a pacifist, as well as Morgan. You know, John is pretty interesting, but I wish they took him darker, like made him a darker character. And June is just boring. She's nowhere as interesting as Carol was in season 5. I mean, don't even get me started on Charlie and the other kids. They're just so annoying, and they're so pointless. The pastor, I don't have any thoughts about him. I mean, like, I just don't get it. Like what they're doing with Fear, because they had so many characters, and then now all those characters we're probably never gonna see again. Like, at least most of them. Like, we're probably never gonna see the kids again. We're probably, okay. I think we're gonna see like most of the main characters, but that's pretty much it. Like, we might never see Grace again. Like, that's possible. So yeah, Dan says, "Oh, I forgot that it's 10 years in the apocalypse. That's how much I don't pay attention to the series. LOL." That's okay, Dan. I mean, sometimes I forget simple things too, but I like to make sure I have everything about The Walking Dead, to a T. I like to make sure I have the timelines right, the characters' ages, you know, other things like I mean, yeah, like I care about the little details in The Walking Dead, and I'm glad that AMC, or at least Scott Gimple, was like, actually, The World Beyond is a little bit before the main show right now. And I'm so glad he said that, because he was like, oh, they're in the same timeline. And I was just like, Scott Gimple, don't give me that. Like, check the wiki. Judith is 10 years old in season 10, and she was born like almost a year into the apocalypse. So they're almost 11 years. It's simple math. This is your show. Like, come on, get it right. I mean, Judith is one of the top 5 main characters now in the show, and you can't even get like, you don't even know how old she is. It's just, I don't know. It's annoying. Let's see. Dan says, oh, I better. Let's see. I'm gonna go a little faster. Fear the Walking Dead can't be saved at this point. LOL. I mean, it depends, Dan. I mean, I don't know if the fans were writing it, maybe it could be, but if the fans were writing season 6 and it's gonna be the last season, I'm sure we can make it amazing. You know. But as far as, will we get an amazing season 6, or will they justify a season 7? Probably not. I see another terrible season, unfortunately. Epic Zombie Killer says, by the way, one thing I didn't like about season 3 of Telltale's The Walking Dead was, oh yeah, I mean, Epic Zombie Killer, I don't think he wants to know that. Um, like, no spoilers. I mean, no big deal, but I guess, like, I didn't want Dan to see that. I mean, I don't know if it's okay with you, Dan, but I know that you haven't played season 2 or 3 and the others, so I just don't want to give you any spoilers, or have spoilers. Yeah, Dan, let me know if, I don't know. Let me know if that's a problem with you. I mean, I could maybe hide the comment or something. Just let me know. Epic Zombie Killer says, that's one thing I hated about JSS. We had Carol going around killing the wolves, but Pacifist Morgan was going around trying to save these murderers. Yeah, I agree, Epic Zombie Killer. I didn't like that. I mean, if I was writing it, I would have had Morgan trying to kill the wolves, but he has a staff, so he can't really do it as well. I would have had, instead of Morgan being a pacifist, I would have had it be where Morgan tries to save as many lives as possible, but he'll kill once in a while. So yeah, Dan says, yeah, it's just like clear already, and Epic Zombie Killer says, just like my dog Judith also got her own pop. Yeah, that's true. And Epic Zombie Killer, you said, "Oh, sorry, my bad." Yeah, that's okay. I mean, I'm wondering if Dan saw that. He probably did. I mean, this is my stream. I've seen all the Telltale games, so you can't spoil it for me. But I just don't know if Dan. I mean, it's not technically a spoiler because you know. Let's see. Oh wait, Dan says it's okay, man. I didn't read it once. I knew it was I didn't read it once. I knew it was about the game. I just stopped reading. Oh, okay, Dan. Yeah. So if so if I see, something, um, yeah, I mean, yeah, just no spoilers from like the Telltale games. So nothing from season 2, 3, or 4, Epic Zombie Killer. But yeah, no worries, man. And yeah, Dan. I mean, season 3 is not the greatest, but it has it has some good moments, and I cannot recommend season 2 and 4 of the Telltale games enough. Like season 1 and 4 are like 10 out of 10 each of them, and season 2 is really good, but not as good as the first season or the fourth, but it's definitely better than the third season. So yeah, I highly recommend it. I hope you can get to them soon because it's one of the best Walking Dead, stories. I mean, even though season 3 wasn't great, I mean, it's got to be better than Fear. So Epic Zombie Killer says, yeah, it's okay to save some people, but people like the wolves, they needed to die. Yeah, I agree, Epic Zombie Killer. I mean, like like in season 5, they show that Morgan doesn't kill the wolves when they attack him, but I would have had it be where maybe Morgan tries to kill them in JSS, or he maybe does kill one of them, because they're actually attacking other people. Like that's the difference. I think one thing would have worked in season 6 is if Morgan is he doesn't care too much if he lives or dies, but he cares about other people whether or not they live or die. So that's basically what I would have had. Like Morgan, he would be okay with dying because he's committed a lot of sins, but basically he would tell the wolves like, I'm going to kill you if you don't leave because you are threatening these other people, that kind of thing. Let's see. Dan says, yeah, they were really messed up people, that's for sure. I mean, they were so messed up, Dan. I mean, they have to be one of the most brutal groups, out there. I mean, sure, the cannibals were pretty bad, but I mean, for Pete's sake, like they were jumping over the fence and taking machetes, to the streets. I mean that was pretty bad. I mean, my goodness. I mean, that was just crazy. I mean, the people of Alexandria were not in the slightest prepared for it. I mean, I remember seeing all the red shirts that were getting killed off, and I was just thinking, I'm like, okay, wow, they have just cleaned the slate in Alexandria. Like, the only characters left will be the ones we know, and that's gonna be it. But unfortunately, looking back on JSS, that's what they should have done because, like, tell me if you guys noticed this, but after JSS, we still saw a bunch of random people in Alexandria, like a bunch of people we've never seen before, or characters who don't say a word, what I mean? Like Epic Zombie Killer and Dan, I feel like JSS. I feel like that episode should have killed off all the useless background Alexandrians, and the only survivors left from Alexandria would have been the characters we established, until that episode. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. That was just weird. Dan says Carol shut that down pretty quickly, though. Yeah, she really did, Dan. Although it would have been nice to see the other characters, you know, fighting as well, because Morgan, he didn't kill anyone. Aaron killed one guy, and I think Rosita killed one wolf too. I mean, Carol killed 10 or something, and I don't know. It's just I feel like maybe they could have let some other people shine, during that scene, but it was still really well done. I mean, they were just making her invincible in that scene. Epic Zombie Killer says, that's what I hated about the mid-season finale of Season 6. Morgan body slamming Carol just for trying to kill the Alpha Wolf. Yeah, I don't understand that, Epic Zombie Killer. I mean, it's one thing to want to save people, but it's another to put people's lives in jeopardy because Morgan, like, this guy is not redeemable because I mean, he's got no moral compass because, like Rick, even though Rick was when he came to Alexandria, he looked like a savage, man. He still had two kids. He still had a group that were his moral compass. He still had an anchor, to his humanity. But that wolf guy, he didn't have any, and was Morgan really going to steal medicine to help him? I mean, just come on. He didn't tell anyone about him. I mean, like it's just bad writing. At least that was bad writing. I mean, I love season 6, but that was just dumb. And sure, like he did kind of try to save Denise, or the wolf did save Denise, but she wouldn't have been in that situation if Morgan didn't do that. Because if Morgan, that's what I hated in a way, because Morgan says like if he didn't save the wolf, Denise will be dead, and then Carl will be dead, and that is not at all how it is. Because if Morgan did not spare the wolf, the people of Alexandria would not have been attacked. If he didn't spare the wolf a second time, oh, and I think his name was Owen, but if he didn't spare Owen the second time, Denise would not have been put in jeopardy, and she would have been in the infirmary. And if she was in the infirmary, she would have still saved Carl. So that is one plot hole, or in Gimple's writing, that already, like, I can just, explain. Let's see. Dan says, it's like, what are you fighting for? It's a wolf, not one of yours. Like, come on, Morgan. Yeah, I mean, I just don't know, Dan. I mean, it's so weird. Like, they never really establish, like, how they needed to protect Alexandria, because, like, I mean, like, Alexandria is, like, supposed to have kids, but, like, I mean, we never really see it too much. I mean, there's Judith and Carl. I feel like they were, like, the only kids left, pretty much, after No Way Out. I'm just saying, like, like Alexandria is a place to be protected, but Morgan, he didn't really connect with anyone in Alexandria. I mean, like Morgan should have realized, hey, this is a place with kids, with families. I can't let this guy live. Like, I'm acting stupid by disagreeing with the group on this. And sure, you don't have to kill off everyone, but Morgan, like, I just don't know. I mean, they didn't have to. He kept him hidden, and it put a lot of people in jeopardy, and it felt like Morgan was choosing them over, people of Alexandria, and that was weird. I mean, if the wolf was like, if he was like a kid, like a teenager, I would have understood that more. Actually, let me know if you guys think that would have been better. Let me know if the wolf Owen, if he was instead like a teenager, like around Carl's age, like would you actually have thought that was better than what they did, like making him a grown man? Because actually that would justify Morgan's actions a little bit more. Morgan, like Carol would actually try to kill this kid, and Morgan would be like, "This is a kid. Like, yes, he attacked us, but is killing him the right answer?" That actually would have. I actually would have liked that more. Let me know if you guys would have liked that more. Let's see. Dan says, not one of your people. I mean, yeah, I know what you mean. Epic Zombie Killer says, I love season 6, but that whole season was all about wiping out all the main Alexandrians. Can you explain that more, Epic Zombie Killer? I mean, I know they took out Deanna, and they took out Deanna and Denise, but I don't remember too many other Alexandrian deaths, in season 6, because I mean, like, actually, no, there was Jessie and her kids, Sam and Ron. But, like, yeah, I don't understand that. Like, they should not have done that. We definitely needed, after No Way Out, we definitely needed some Alexandrians left in the story. And we hardly had any left. I mean, now we just have Aaron, from Alexandria pretty much. I mean, Aaron is pretty much the last, likable character from Alexandria. Or at least the last one that people know his face. Dan says the Wolves ended out of nowhere though. I thought they were a lot more than they actually were. Yeah, Dan, did you see the thing from Scott Gimple, or like do you remember Noah's community that was attacked? I think it was Shire Wilt Estates. Like I think Gimple confirmed that the wolves attacked and destroyed it, but like I don't understand how they could have taken that community and not taken Alexandria, because like I just don't understand that. Like, did the wolves have more people back then? Like, did they actually have vehicles? Because we saw how they were in Alexandria. We saw they were about to ram the gate with a truck, but Spencer killed the guy, and he hit the walls instead. But I don't know. It's just I was okay what they did with I was okay with what they did with the wolves, how it ended. Like that was great, but I feel like they could have done a little bit more with them, like fleshed them out more. Maybe have given them some names. I don't know, just something. Um, yeah. Dan says we can never forget Scott, though. Yeah, that's true, Dan. But let's be honest. I mean, does anyone even like Scott? I mean, he's just there. Uh, I mean, it would have been nice to have, another Alexandrian besides Aaron that we actually care about. Epic Zombie Killer says we lost the Anderson family, Deanna, Nicholas, and background Alexandrians. Yeah, I remember that Epic Zombie Killer. I forgot about Nicholas just because I hated him so much. But actually, we lost like Annie too, and she was with Scott and Heath. And actually, if you think about it, we lost Heath too. Um, but yeah, I know we lost Alexandrians, but like for some reason, after all those deaths, we still had plenty of Alexandrians in season 7 and 8. Like, yeah, let me know if you guys noticed that too. Like, I don't know, did that bug you guys too? Because after that, like after No Way Out, there should have been like, like a handful of Alexandrians left. But I don't know, new Alexandrians kept popping up every episode or something. So I don't know, that was just so weird. Epic Zombie Killer says maybe it's because Noah's community didn't have Carol to protect it, as where Alexandrian did. Yeah, that's true, Epic Zombie Killer. I mean, but it's just crazy because she's one woman. Sure she's very tough, absolutely, but it's just like I don't know. Like, did Noah's community not have like any weapons to defend themselves? I don't know. Like, I wonder if that was going to be explained. But yeah, Dan's review says Scott is the new T-Dog. They both pretty much do nothing. LOL. Yeah, I mean that's true, Dan. Except like the difference is like Scott, he's got some plot armor or something. I mean, he should have been dead many times over, but it looks like Scott Gimple is keeping him around because he has the same name as him. I mean, I think I remember you mentioning that in your comic you're gonna have someone named Dan, and I'm just making a quick prediction, but I think you're gonna have that character survive like anything. Just pointing it out there. Like, I think you're gonna have the character Dan in your story. Like, maybe not be the biggest character, but he's gonna survive anything that happens. And yeah, I'm surprised Scott has lived this long. And honestly, like T Dog was better. I mean, I'll I'll give Scott a chance, but he's just so like pointless. He's so underused. Like, I just feel like we could have had much more interesting characters. And what I mean? Like, we lose Rick, we lose Tara, Maggie. I mean, Maggie's not dead, but you know, like she'll come back, but she's not gonna be around. She's not gonna be back in a while. I'm just saying we've lost a lot of characters in the show, but we still have Scott. I mean, I don't know what they're doing with Scott. I mean, is Scott, like I mentioned this the last live stream? Is Scott gonna be? Was he the one that freed Negan? Is he the mastermind in Alexandria? Like, is he the smartest character? I mean, so many questions. Um, yeah, I mean, I miss T Dog. They definitely should have done more with T Dog, and Laurie's death definitely undermines his death. Dan says we would have still had Heath as another Alexandrian, but that's not happening. LOL. Let's see. I'm not sure what you mean, Dan. We would have still had Heath as another Alexandrian, but it's not happening. Do you mean having another likable Alexandrian? Because I don't know. I feel like we could have had more, like Mikey. If you don't know who Mikey is, he's Nicholas's son, and he's around Carl's age. And if they kept him around, they could have given him maybe Henry's story or like Carl's comic story. You know what I mean? Or they could have kept him around, like have him be with Lydia and survive the Pikes. I don't know, just anything. I feel like we could have had something more with other characters. Like, it feels like they forgot Mikey existed. And even though Mikey's not a big character in the comics, like, we still recognized him when he was in the story. Epic Zombie Killer says also Francine, she was a useless character. Like, they had Abraham save her, like he did Holly in the comics. But then they will make him hook up with Sasha. Yeah, I know, Epic Zombie Killer, but one thing I don't understand is why did they create Francine? Like, why didn't they just do Holly? That was one problem also I had with season 6. In JSS they introduced Holly and then killed her off. Like in season 5, the characters were mentioning Holly and we were waiting to see her, and then they just killed her off like a background extra. And that was a huge flaw I had with season 6, especially JSS, because we were waiting to see Holly and then they just killed her off like as if that was nothing. And Francine, like, I just don't understand it. Like, why do Francine? Why not use Holly? And if you give Francine like that scene, why not give? Why still have Holly as a character? I don't know. That was just weird. I did not like Francine as a character. Oh, by the way, has anyone noticed that Francine is kind of similar to Althea from Fear? Like, could they be like cousins or like sisters or something? Because I don't know. There's just something about them that is like so similar. You know. So you guys let me know if you agree, because I don't know. There's something about, like, when I saw Althea in Fear, I'm like, she's so familiar. Like, why do I get familiar? Why does she seem familiar to me? And I think I realized it is because she's like very similar to Francine. And I don't know. Let me know if you guys think so too. But yeah, I mean, Francine, like, I didn't care when she died. Honestly, in season 8 when she died, I was just like, oh, okay, they took her out. Like, because they did not develop her. Like, I'm not saying that every character needs amazing development, but Gimple, he was really introducing too many characters and not giving certain characters the right story. I mean, I don't know, Francine, like, she was there when Spencer died, but they couldn't do a scene where she's like burying Spencer. Like, I don't know, just like give something to these other characters, because we literally don't see characters like Francine for like 6 episodes, and then they appear in the background, and then another 6 episodes later they get like a line or something. I don't know. That's just so weird. Like, that is not how you do characters right in the story. Because when Francine died, I'm pretty sure like no one knew who she was, or at least very few people. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, let's see. We're all cut up now. Oh, Epic Zombie Killer says also how Tom and Fear had a super dumb death. Well, Tina, Sherry's sister, had a dumb death as well. Yeah, I agree, Epic Zombie Killer. And, like, always accountable, that has to be, even though it's like Daryl, Abraham, and Sasha focus, like, that has to be one of the worst episodes ever. I mean, not top 10, but, like, it's got to be, like, top, 30 or something. Because, like, it's full of contradictions. I mean, Dwight and Sherry and Tina, they escape the sanctuary, and somehow they think Daryl is a savior. Like, wouldn't they have seen him before? That just doesn't make sense to me. Like, because they're in the sanctuary. So that's a little bit weird. But then they have them rob Daryl and then decide to go back to the sanctuary and beg for forgiveness from Negan. Like, that just did not make any sense. Like, all that character development for those two, and it's just nothing. And as far as Tina's death, like, yeah, that was so dumb. I mean, she literally like tripped into the glass walkers, and that was just so dumb. Like, and it didn't even look like she was trying to get up. Like, I'm sorry, but like, was Gimple not watching that scene and thinking, okay, I gotta make a better death than that because that's a lame death? Like, it's just so obvious that they were gonna kill her off when we saw her, because she's not a comic character. Let's see. Dan says Francine is very similar to Althea. I agree. Thanks for agreeing, Dan. I mean, I knew something about Althea was so familiar. Sure, the camera, Francine is not like, she doesn't have the camera thing, but just the looks and the voice, and I don't know, just maybe her outfit too. Like, that is so familiar. And I knew I saw it from somewhere, and it's like Scott Gimple. Like, I wonder if he like took Francine and basically like just reincarnated her in another show and decided to make her a main character. I mean, that's what Althea feels like to me. And I don't know, like Francine, she was such a minor character in the show, and Althea is just, she's just there. Like, honestly, out of all the main characters introduced in season 4, she might be like my least favorite. Well, actually, no. Okay, maybe Charlie is like my least favorite, but just barely. Like, Charlie, like, at least she had that interesting story with killing Nick, but they just did not do it right. Like, what they should have done is they should have had Charlie meeting up with like Madison, and you know Madison doesn't find out that she killed Nick, like it's a secret, and they basically have Madison and Charlie with their own group, in a different location, and then Alicia and Strand and Luciana and Morgan in a different area with their own group. So, kind of like Game of Thrones, where a character does something and they join another group in the same story. So I don't know. That's what I would have done. Dan says, "Yeah, always accountable is not in my list, but the episode itself is just made weird." Yeah, like, I didn't understand some elements in it, Dan. Like like Dwight and Sherry going back to Negan at the very end. I mean, other things like just the whole Sasha and Abraham thing. I think they could have worked that out a little bit more. Like maybe Sasha should have seen, what happened with Abraham, like him yelling at that walker. I don't know. They could have just done something else. Um, I mean, like, and also like it feels like it was just a Daryl focused episode, and he was starting to grunt kind of, and it just I don't know. I think that's where his like grunting started, like that episode pretty much. And also Tina's death, it was just so bad. I mean that like it's not like Tom's death from Fear, but it is pretty bad. Let's see. Epic Zombie Killer says also in season 4 at the prison, I'm pretty sure they modeled Patrick after Chris Julia's boyfriend from the comics. Maybe. I'm not really sure. Oh, you're talking about Patrick the character. That's I mean kind of not really. So like in the show Patrick was I think he was like 14, 15 in the comics. Chris was like 16, 17, and so he's a little older in the comic, but as far as yeah, I definitely could see the similarities, but like it's a little bit different. I mean, they get different deaths and they have different personalities too. I mean, Chris in the comics was mental. He was just he was a bad kid, like, but like Patrick seemed like a much nicer kid. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely think that he visually looks similar. In fact, there's probably a lot of times where you can find characters from the comic or shows who just look like this character. I'm sure there's a lot of them. I mean, yeah, there's a good amount, I think. But yeah, I mean, let's see, we're all cut up now. I mean, if you could like I mean, yeah, like Olivia in the comics and show, they look pretty much nothing alike. I mean, but like characters like Heath look exactly the same from comic to show. So yeah, I mean that's a good. Thanks for telling me that, Epic Zombie Killer. That's interesting. I didn't really think about that. Let's see. Chris was one of my like least favorite characters from the comic. He just was not interesting, and they could have done more with him, especially Julia, Tyrese's daughter. They should have done more with her. Epic Zombie Killer says, also one thing I don't like about the 7-inch Abraham figure is how they made him wear the suit. Yeah, I mean, like, that was not, like, one of... I mean, he was only wearing that suit for, like, 2 episodes, I think. Yeah, like, pretty much just 2 episodes. And I don't think it really, like, warranted having a whole action figure for him. Plus, I think the figure was limited. Like, it can't move well. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's kind of an issue. Dan says I hated the flu storyline so much. I don't know why. I just didn't like it. But the Carol, Karen, and David stuff was interesting. Yeah, I agree, Dan. I mean, I really thought like we had like if you remember in the comics, there was that prisoner who was a serial killer, and his name was Thomas. I really thought they were doing that on the show, but like except using a different character. But they made it Carol instead, and I was just like, whoa! Like Carol in seasons 1 to 3 was just like I was just thinking, I'm like, okay, she's there. But then they decided to make Carol like a murderer, and I was just like, what? Like I mean, to be fair, like I actually really like the flu storyline, but it's kind of a plot hole because it never comes back, and they never give a reason why the flu happened. Like, I mean, even in our world, yes, we have diseases, but like, was it because of the walkers? Like, and the flu never comes back. Like, I don't understand that. And plus, it's kind of pointless now because every single character that was infected by the flu is now dead. Sasha, Glenn, like they were like the last few characters who were infected by the flu and lived, and now they're dead. So that wasn't the greatest. And yeah, plus the flu storyline, like let's be honest, I think that storyline was just to kill off all the like background characters in the prison that joined during the season 3 to season 4 time skip. So yeah, Epic Zombie Killer says I agree that storyline was weak. I mean, it wasn't the greatest Epic Zombie Killer, but let's agree it was better than the Beth Hospital storyline. Like let's agree on there. And it was better than the garbage, people kind of storyline, even though it was sprinkled in. Let's just say it was better than some of those storylines. Like as far as original storylines that Gimple has done, so as far as original storylines Gimple has created, it's probably the best one. Dan says, I have that Abraham figure and it's collecting dust. LOL, it's very weird for a figure. Yeah, I agree, Dan. I mean, Abraham only had that for like 2 episodes, and it wasn't even like he didn't even do anything interesting when it happened. He just was wearing it and he took it like it was possible. Like I knew it was possible. I didn't want to see it, but you couldn't say it was impossible, especially after what they did to Andrea. Dan says, and the flu doesn't kill anyone important anyways, so it's like, what's the point? I think the point of it, Dan, was to kill off the background people at the prison. Like, I mean, have you noticed that the only people who were dying from the flu were just these new nobodies, like these new people, like that we never saw from the previous seasons or episode? I mean, yeah, I think that was the point of it. I kind of hate that sometimes when a story like you know what I mean? Like I kind of hate that, and sometimes in a story where just everyone but the main characters like die from something. I mean, I don't know, like, but it makes sense. Let's see. Dan says the hospital was terrible. I hate Beth. I hate Dawn so much, and the episodes were super boring to be honest. I mean, I'll agree with you there, Dan. I don't hate Beth. That's the one part I'll disagree with. I just think they could have done just a lot better with her because I just think that like I mean this was Maggie's sister. Like the last after Herschel died, like Beth became so much more important. Like the Green family was so important after Herschel's death. Like she and Maggie were the last from the farm, so she was more valuable to us to the story. So I think they should have done a better storyline with Beth. And yeah, I mean I just don't understand what they were doing with that. Like I mean I'll admit like it was so boring. And oh, do you guys remember the van when Daryl and Carol are in the van on their way to the hospital and the walkers flip over that minivan they're in, and when you look at it, it's pretty clear that they were going to fall on the roof from the highway, but they land on the butt of the truck, or like the the bottom side, because they didn't film it right, and there was issues. Like I mean, that was bad. That was really bad. Did you guys notice that? Let's see. Epic Zombie Killer says, "Yeah, I agree that Beth Hospital arc was terrible. I mean, so many things were wrong with it. I mean, like it wasn't clear if Dawn shot Beth. Like, how did Daryl and Carol? How did their truck flip the other way? I mean, just so many problems with the Beth hospital storyline. Like, they really did not, try as hard as they can. Like, the quality was just so low. Let's see. Epic Zombie Killer says also it's dumb. The second half of season 4, Maggie doesn't mention Beth. Yeah, I agree, Epic Zombie Killer. That was bad. I mean, I get what Gimple was trying to say, where he wanted Maggie to find Glenn, but they could have at least had Maggie say, "I need to find my husband and my sister." Like, they could have at least mentioned that because, like, or they could have fixed it by having Maggie believe that Beth died. Like, maybe she saw, a young girl, like a young girl's corpse, and it looked like Beth, but it was just a walker, but she only saw the feet, or like maybe it was someone from the prison that she didn't know very well. I mean, they could have just done something else, and I don't know, that it could have been better. Dan says, "Imagine Martha being the leader of the hospital now. That would have been the funniest thing ever." Dan, that would have been, oh my gosh, that would have been the worst death ever because I mean, Dawn, she was the worst villain, or one of the worst villains in the Walking Dead main show, but I think that she is still way better than Martha, and I cannot stand Martha. Like, I mean, like, I'm sure there's like, I wonder if there's like memes with Batman saying, or screaming, "Why would you say that name?" I know I put that in the comments on one of your videos, but especially the spotlight or that you're gonna do for Martha. But like, I just don't understand Martha. Like as a villain, she is terrible. And if she was, I mean, Dawn was somewhat interesting, a little bit, like just a little bit. But Martha, she was not interesting in the at all. Like she was the worst villain in Fear, and Fear has the worst villains. You know what I mean? So it's just that bad. I mean, like what would Martha be doing like in the hospital? I mean, would she be turning people into walkers and then putting them on poles? I mean, she would make a terrible leader. Epic Zombie Killer says after Abraham knocked out Eugene, Maggie is standing around and acts like she didn't have a sister. Um, let's see. I mean, I'm kind of confused when you say that because like when Abraham, oh yeah, yeah, you're talking about the next episode after that. Yeah, because when Abraham was beating up Eugene, like they were too focused on that. But as far as, yeah, like Maggie, I think she put the ladder to cover Eugene with a blanket so he doesn't, like, because so the sun doesn't like burn his face like while he's knocked out, I guess. But um, I mean, yeah, they definitely should have mentioned that. And that whole storyline with Glenn and Abraham, just, it was not great. I mean, I did love how Abraham punched out Eugene because that is still one of the funniest things in The Walking Dead. Like, me and my brother laugh all the time when we see that. It is still funny to this day. But still, I think, yeah, they definitely should have had Maggie mention Beth at least a couple of times. And you know, I don't know. It's just that was definitely weird. Epic Zombie Killer. Let's see. Dan says, "I know. It's like remember Beth." I mean, honestly, I guess even Gimple didn't even remember her sometimes. Like maybe even he even forgot, and that was so weird too because like I mean, even Daryl and Rick, like, I think Rick, he's like, is Beth with you? Like, he mentions that in the finale of season 4, and uh, and Daryl says she's gone. Like, I'll be honest, like, I didn't like that part. Like, just saying she's gone. It's like, well, what do you mean she's gone? Like, Daryl should have said like, we were at this funeral house. I was killing the walkers, and someone in a van, took off. I don't know where she is. Something like that. That would have been so much better than Daryl just saying she's gone. But at least Rick like asked like if Beth was around, like because I mean it's not like she's important or something to them, but I don't know, that was weird. Um, but yeah, I mean I don't know, that's just so weird. Like Maggie, she has so many siblings in the comics, and they like die so fast, and I don't. And then in the show, she has like so few, and the one time where she's supposed to ask, "Where is my sibling?" or "What's happening?" she doesn't. That's so weird. Um, yeah, I don't know. Um, by the way, guys, just to let you know, I'm gonna end this live stream tonight a little sooner than before. So not like I'm not ending it now, just like in another hour. So it's just gonna be like 2 hours because yeah, I mean I don't think I can go 3 hours tonight, and I gotta get ready and do a couple things. But yeah, um, and I just want to say thank you, Dan and Epic Zombie Killer. I'm sorry. Thank you, Dan and Epic Zombie Killer, for coming in for the past hour, just talking to me on this live stream. I really appreciate it. And I know Eastside Badger is doing something at the moment, so he couldn't come. Let's see. Dan says, love the Abraham punching Eugene thing, too. Yeah, I mean, that is. I don't know if it was intentional, but that is still one of the funniest moments in The Walking Dead. Like it's just it's hilarious. And even looking back at it now, like sure Eugene has stepped up, but it's one of those moments like it's crazy. Like Eugene, I don't think he's ever like murdered someone like the way Father Gabriel killed Dante. Like I don't think he's ever went that far still. So I don't know, Eugene, he doesn't really, I don't think he has a high kill count. He hasn't really gotten his hands dirty that much. I mean, sure, he stepped up, but he still has, I guess, he's got a long way to go. Let's see. Epic Zombie Killer says also in season 5 we had the iconic quote, "We are the Walking Dead" from the comics, and Daryl ruined it by saying we ain't. Yeah, I remember Ronnie Hayes talked about that, and when he said that, I was just like, Daryl, no, no, stop talking. Like I like it when you talk, but not in that moment because even Maggie, even Glenn, I mean even Glenn was shutting up and listening to what Rick was saying. Even I think he was like nodding, like even he was understanding what he was trying to say. And Daryl's like, "We ain't." It's like Daryl, like why have that if Glenn is to die and Daryl is to live? Like I don't understand that. It just didn't make sense. Dan says, I know it's like, shut up, Daryl. Yeah, I mean, I get that he was upset that Beth died, but, like, I mean, Maggie and Glenn they're more upset. Like, Beth was family to them. I mean, come on. Like, and I mean family, family, like in our world, not in their world, you know? Yeah, I don't know. That was just so weird. I mean, I like that episode, but some of the things they did, like, I mean, some of the things they did, like, being hesitant with the water, thinking it was poison. Like, I get that they're nervous, but it's like, okay, who would leave? You know, I mean, they should have at least tested, at least boil it. At least take the water and at least see if it's been opened or whatever. Because if it's been opened, then it could be poisonous. But at least boil it or something. Just and the whole barn thing. I don't know. It was fine, but I think that it could have worked in other ways. But as far as the Daryl thing, yeah, that was definitely an issue. The episode was depressing, but it was still well done. Dan says it's just Beth. Like, come on. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Dan, have you seen like thumbnails or like videos that ship Daryl and Beth? It's so it's so wrong. Like, I never shipped Daryl and Beth. You know, their connection, it wasn't romantic. I don't understand why people wanted that. Like, it was so wrong. Um, I mean, that would be so wrong. It wasn't wrong how they did in the show, but I mean, Daryl being upset with Beth, that's fine, but at least establish that Maggie and Glenn are more upset. Um, and let's see. Dan says, "I'm sorry, I just can't stand her." I mean, like in season 5, like she definitely had her moments. Okay, in Still, I didn't really like her that much in Still, and normally I like Beth, because of her connection to the Green family, because she's Herschel's daughter, Maggie's sister, and because I thought this might be interesting, to see. Like, I thought they were gonna build her up like an Alicia character, you know. Oh, hey, Eastside Badger. He says I don't like Beth either. Well, I mean, I understand she's definitely not like everyone's favorite character, but she had a big fan base. Not as big as Daryl or Rick, but she had her following. A lot of young girls and even some guys, they really liked Beth. She was kind of like the first Alicia, you know what I mean? And obviously Alicia is like legendary, amazing, but Beth was she was like an apprentice to that. I guess what I'm trying to say. Dan says Daryl is like 40 at the time, and Beth was like what 18, maybe 19. She was definitely 18. Dan, I think they confirmed that by season 5. They're like around 2 years in the apocalypse, so she was just 18. And yeah, I don't know, Dan. I mean that it's gross. That's all it is. It's gross. People who ship Daryl and Beth, and I get it. You have a right to ship who you want in a fictional series, but that's still wrong. Even by our world, I mean, it's just wrong. And that's not even the connection they had. Like, I mean, Beth, I don't think she ever like kissed Daryl on the cheek or anything. So, I just don't know. Sure, they hugged, but it still did not work. Plus, like, I think people would have hated Daryl if he had a connection with Beth like that, like a relationship. That would have just been so wrong on so many levels. And I think even Maggie, like, she would have been like, I don't approve of this, Daryl. Like, even in Zombie Apocalypse, like Maggie, even Glenn, he would be like, okay, dude, seriously? Like, this is just weird. Like, I don't know, something like that. But but Daryl would have been safe. If I will give that. If Daryl and Beth were in a relationship, Daryl would have been safe because we know that Beth lost her two first boyfriends, Jimmy and Zach. But Daryl, he would not have fallen in that curse. He would have lived. But yeah. Let's see. Eastside Badger says Alicia is a legend. Beth doesn't compare. Yeah, I agree. Eastside Badger. I was just thinking like I just thought originally when they were building up Beth in season 5 that they were gonna make her a character like that. Like looking back on it, like I thought they were gonna make Beth sort of like Alicia season 1 and 2. Like Alicia started being like amazing. I mean, I've always like loved Alicia, but she started to be like amazing in like season 3, I think. And I thought they were gonna do that with Beth. I guess what I'm trying to say. Dan says Alicia should have been in The Walking Dead to begin with, but then Fear would have definitely been canceled. That's for sure. Yeah, I agree, Dan. I mean, it's crazy. As soon as I saw the casting for Alicia Denham Carey, I just knew that not only she was going to be my favorite character, but I just knew like she was going to be the last member of the family. I just knew it. And you could say that, well, that's because I'm a guy, but I mean, honestly, like it makes sense why Alicia is the only reason people watch Fear now. I mean, I don't really watch it for Morgan. He's not a like they just made him a pacifist again, and I hate that. John's all right. Strand is not. He's boring, but yeah. And Dan says Beth is fail at an Alicia type of character. Yeah, Dan. I mean, I kind of agree. I'm just saying like let's see. Like Alicia is like 100. Beth was like maybe 10. Is what I'm trying to say. Like I'm just saying like I think that maybe she could have been that type of character. Like like I think Alicia is Beth done 100% correctly, or maybe not 100%, but done much better is what I'm trying to say. Like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. Epic Zombie Killer says the reason I say Negan looked like comic Negan in the season 7 finale is that they lowered the camera and made it look like he had a thick neck like the comics. Yeah, I mean, part of me, I mean, I don't think I noticed that, but part of me still is like, just why is Jeffrey Dean Morgan like why is he so skinny? Like I just wish that that didn't happen. Like he was just that skinny. Um, yeah, thanks for the comment. Eastside Badger says Alicia definitely should have and still should be in The Walking Dead. Yeah, I mean I agree, Eastside Badger, but I do like that Alicia is in Fear somewhat because when she was in season 1 to 3, I had a character that I liked more than even in the main show. So I thought there was some decent competition. And if Alicia was in the main show, I don't know. It's just like you would have people maybe shipping her with Daryl. So maybe that's a good reason why I don't want Alicia in the Walking Dead main show. But now I'm starting to think like, honestly, maybe they should just do it. Eastside Badger says, let's be honest, Alicia could whip Rick's butt. Yeah, I mean, like, even though, like, I mean, Alicia's done, yeah, she is tough. I mean, and honestly, like, Rick, last time we saw Rick, he was 99% dead. So, yeah, she can definitely kick Rick's butt. Um, and it's crazy. Like Alicia might be like the only character in Fear that like she can compete with other characters in the main show. You know what I mean? Like Michonne, like Daryl, like you know what I mean? Like those kind of characters as far as like toughness. Because I definitely think that Alicia has earned it. You know, Dan says she would steal the show. Who needs Rosita? We got Alicia now. Yeah, like bye bye Rosita. Make room for Alicia. Totally agree, Dan. I mean, like to be fair, like I don't know. It's just Alicia, like she definitely would. I would love her on the main show, but I still like my moments with the original comic characters. Like, like even though I really like Daryl, like I still hated that he stole so much storyline from Glenn, Tyrese, Abraham. You know what I mean? Like I still hated that in the show, like how he stole so much, good moments from with Rick from other characters. So yeah, I mean like I don't want what I mean? I don't want like Alicia to take certain moments from other characters. I guess what I'm trying to say. Like I want them to do their own thing with her. Epic Zombie Killer says also I'm still against the beard he had during the lineup in 701. I mean, like the beard is not a big deal for me honestly, but they could have done a few things like when they casted Negan, they should have said like, "Listen, you got to be clean shaven. You have to be on the show a long time. You can't just film other stuff." So I don't understand why he had to have the beard. I mean, like, it's not a big deal. Like, I'm okay with the beard, but they definitely should have had Jeffrey Dean Morgan like gain weight and bulk up. Yeah, thanks for the reply. Eastside Badger says, "Sweet Rosita will always have a place in my heart." I mean, she has a place in my heart, Eastside Badger. I mean, I don't dislike her. I mean, unless it was season 7 and 8 Rosita. Like I disliked that Rosita, but season 9 she's growing on me again, and season 10 I like her too. As far as yeah, I mean she has a place in all of our hearts, but she does not compare to. I mean maybe she kind of compares to Alicia, but we know Alicia like is the number one. Epic Zombie Killer says, "Hey, how do you think Dwight would react to the new Negan we have now?" That's a good question, Epic Zombie Killer. I think that well, okay, so it depends on Gimple's writing or Angela King's writing. So, if Dwight was still in the show, we would have Dwight be still very mad at Negan, but he would still like maybe give him a weapon if his life was dependent on it. Like he would definitely give him a weapon to fight, help out, and he would still talk to him, but and he wouldn't like point a gun at his head like every second. So I think that it would be a lot like Daryl, where he's not going to forgive him, but he's going to just tolerate him and maybe slowly see that he's changed. But as far as like Fear, if this was Fear Dwight, then he would just forgive him and say like I forgive you, Negan, because I mean let's be honest, Gimple has ruined a lot of characters. He ruined Morgan, he ruined Dwight. I mean, he ruined Daniel. I mean, who else? I mean, it's pretty much a lot of characters. But yeah, Fear. So show Dwight would be still pissed at Negan and just tolerate him Fear Dwight would just forgive him and say like, I've done horrible things, I forgive you, Negan. So yeah. Dan says, love Rosita too, though. It makes me upset that she's kind of in the background now. Yeah, I agree, Dan. I mean, it kind of makes sense. She's a mom now, but as far as, like, honestly, like, I'm kind of scared they might kill her off in the second half because, I don't know, like, because, let's see. I mean, I think that they're. I think Father Gabriel's gonna die in the second half. Sadiq died. She might die too. I mean, who knows? Like, I just don't see them keeping her around longer because remember she's filming that other show, and I don't know. They might kill her off, but they haven't used her a lot. So I don't know. They used Sadiq so much, and then they killed him off. But Rosita hasn't been used pretty much at all. Dan says Dwight will be like, "Get out of my face, Negan." Um, well, yeah. As far as like if he was still on the show, but as far as Fear, you just know that they would have Dwight say some mumbo jumbo philosophy thing to Negan, because the writing. Epic Zombie Killer says season 7, you kind of understand why she was so mean because Abraham dumped her. Well, here's the thing, Epic Zombie Killer. When the group goes to the hilltop to see Maggie, we see Rosita and Sasha there, and we see Rosita smile at Sasha. And I thought they were gonna do this thing where Rosita knows that Abraham dumped her for Sasha, but she puts that past her, and all she cares about is, just taking down Negan, And they just had Rosita hold a grudge against Sasha when she didn't do anything, and that was just unnecessary drama. Like, if you think it was necessary drama, like, I'm sorry, but I disagree because there were more important things to be doing. Like, Rosita was, she was having problems with Tara, with, I think Dwight, with Sasha. Like, she was just not making friends. And Gabriel, too. She was, like, throwing, like, insults at him, too. It's like, Rosita, like, just stop. Like, you made a mistake. Stop blaming others for it. And I get it. She was dumped, but she still had no real reason to be mad at Sasha because Sasha, she wants to avenge Abraham, but she's like, we're not friends. It's like, what are you talking about? You're not friends. Like, did you forget like season 4, season 5 when you had to fight out of Terminus? Like did she forget that? Like, that was just, I'm sorry, that's horrible writing. Eastside Badger says, I bet Negan would kill Dwight. Dwight double crossed in Alpha. Um, I'm not sure what you mean, Eastside Badger. I mean, do you mean now Negan would kill Dwight? Because I don't think Negan will kill Dwight now. Dwight double crossed an Alpha. Yeah, I don't know what you mean, Eastside Badger. I'm kind of curious. Yeah, let me. Can you please explain that a little bit more? I'm sorry, I guess I'm just misinterpreting it, but I mean, sure, Negan was an Alpha, but let's be honest. Like Simon, let's be honest. Simon stole the show in season 8. Like, like Simon was a better Negan than even Negan, and yeah. Thanks for the reply, though. And Dan says, yeah, I could see that too. And he says, Rosita in season 7 was just too over the top made. Yeah, I agree, Dan. I mean, she got Olivia killed, which made me super mad at her. And then she started blaming other characters for what she did. And, like, I just don't get that. Why she said we're not friends. Like, I get that maybe she can have a little bit of jealousy, but you could have had at least Rosita say, like, that it's not important now. What's important is defeating Negan, and it just doesn't make sense. Like I said, she says to Sasha, "We're not friends." Like, yes, you are. You had to survive Terminus together. You guys, went from Georgia to DC together. For weeks. You guys. I mean, Sasha lost her brother. On the road. I mean, uh, let's see, they had to fight the cannibals together. I mean, no, they didn't. Sorry. But they had to do their own things. Sorry, I forgot that. And they went to Alexandria and they made friends. Like, I just don't. And plus, they did No Way Out together. Like, come on, they're friends. Like, Rosita, stop saying that. Um, and Dan says, I'm surprised Simon didn't kill Negan, but once again, stupid plot armor. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I understand why they didn't kill off Negan, but it's just like Simon, he was like a better Negan than even Negan in season 8. You know what I mean? And actually, even season 7 a little bit. I mean, like, I just loved it when Simon was like, like they were looking for Daryl, and they were like, because we really want you to see him die. But then when Negan sees Daryl, he's just like, I gotta get me, I need my Daryl back, or what do you say, my Dare Bear? Like that is just, it's too corny. Like it's not threatening. Like don't get me wrong, I like Negan who jokes around, but like Negan needed to be a little more threatening. Eastside Badger says Negan would kill Dwight because Dwight double crossed him. Alpha males such as Negan wouldn't let that go. He changed, but not that much. Um, well, I mean, I respect your opinion, Eastside Badger. I don't know, personally, like, if I'm going by the comic, like, even in the comic, like, Negan knows Dwight betrayed him, but he didn't kill Dwight. You know, Negan was mostly okay with Dwight after he was freed from the prison, so I don't know. I don't know, Eastside Badger. I'm not sure about that, but I understand why you think that. But yeah, I just don't know. I mean, yeah, Negan was an alpha male, but Negan wouldn't Negan kind of understand why Dwight betrayed him though? Yeah, I don't know. Epic Zombie Killer says, "Yeah, I agree. Rosita wasn't that good in season 7. Not only was she not good, she was terrible. Like she was one of the worst characters in season 7. She was up there with Daryl, with I mean, no, I don't think she was there with Tara. Tara was, I think, a little bit better. Dan says Negan was more realistic in the comics, though, to be honest. Yeah, I agree, Dan. I mean, in the comics, Negan, like, he, like, got shot at, and they actually kind of made it work where he's not invincible to bullets or, like, super fast. You know, in the comics, they actually, it makes sense because in the comic, Negan was up super high when they started firing, so he ducked in time. But in the show, he was like 10 feet from them. So, yeah, I mean, that was just so bad in the show. Thank you for the comment. Epic Zombie Killer says, yeah, in season 8, Negan was very sloppy and badly written. Like he said, Rick failed as a dad when Carl died. Well, I mean, like I'll agree. Negan was written sloppy and bad in season 8. But as far as like telling Rick that he failed him as a father, Carl as a father, like in a way, he did have a point. Like, I mean, Rick, unfortunately and unknowingly, he did fail Carl, and in a way, that's because of the terrible writing. But I guess like also Rick wasn't exactly making the best choices, and unfortunately that led to Carl doing something stupid. And yeah, Dan says to say I mean. Oh wait, Dan says that was terrible of him to say. I mean, yeah, I mean it was, but I don't exactly like. Rick wasn't exactly the best in season 8 either. Like Rick was going too far with it. He was overconfident with his plans, and you know what I mean. Like he was kind of delusional in season 8. Like Rick kind of saw himself as being super good, I guess, in season 8, but Rick wasn't exactly good in season 8. He was kind of a villain too, if you think about it. And I don't know, maybe Carl would have lived. I will say this: Carl would have lived if Rick have given Sadiq a chance. If Rick did not shoot at Sadiq, or like shoot above or shoot the sky and drive Sadiq away, I would say that Carl would still be alive, because Carl went back. He couldn't let his father do that. He couldn't let his father, drive a man into the woods to die. Carl would just, he wouldn't take that from his father, and Carl got bit because of it, unfortunately. So, if you guys disagree, that's okay. But let me know if you agree or disagree. Would Carl still be around if Rick gave Sadiq a chance at that gas station instead of drive him in the forest and scared him off? Because I think that Rick should have at least given Sadiq a chance. And Rick kind of didn't. He didn't really have a reason to drive Sadiq away. Scare him off. Like he had no reason, or at least no good reason. And yeah, um, let's see. Eastside Badger says Negan lost his empire and freedom because of Dwighty Boy. Nice Dwighty Boy. Who lets that go? I mean, I understand Eastside Badger, but like I said, I mean, going by what I see in the show and from the comic, I kind of think Negan would have forgiven Dwight. But I understand why you think he wouldn't have forgiven him. But yeah. Oh, it looks like I have to speed this up a little. Let's see. Dan says, yeah, that's why Dwight should have stayed in Fear for his safety, but Fear kills everyone at the same time, so Dwight is probably screwed. LOL. I mean, yeah, that's true, Dan. I mean, I could honestly see Dwight dying in Fear at some point, but not for a couple seasons if it lasts that long. But man, like Fear, like destroys the character. Like they made Dwight a pacifist, Morgan, Alicia. I mean, I don't know why Gimple what he's doing, but it's just not good. Uh oh wow. Ryan came. Hey Ryan. Uh hold on. I'll get to you in a minute. Sorry. Gotta speed this up. Let's see. Epic Zombie Killer says, which is weird. In comics, Negan is likable during All Out War, where the show he was unlikable. Yeah, I don't know Epic Zombie Killer. I think they were just not writing him well. Negan was having serious issues with his writing, and also they had him about to kill Carl in the season 7 finale, but then they decided that Negan cared about Carl, and I don't know, that was just so weird. Yeah, thanks for the comment. Eastside Badger says Rick did fail Carl as Shane predicted. Everything Shane said about Rick not being able to protect his family came true. Yeah, I agree, Eastside Badger. Unfortunately, that was true. Like with Lori, like Rick should have. I don't know. Like Rick should have done something else with Lori, like in season 3. I mean, I know that Dan hates Lori, but I didn't hate her in season 3, so I think Rick should have been a little bit, maybe, like, I don't know, maybe he should have been a little nicer to Lori, at least, like, just before she died. And as far as Carl, like, yeah, Rick should not have driven scared a man to the woods to, die in front of Carl. That's too far. Um, oh, yeah. Ryan says, hey, man, hey, Ryan, it's good to see you. We haven't really talked in a while. But I'm glad you're here, man. And sorry I haven't checked your videos in a while. It's just that it's mostly Funko Pops, and I'm just not a big fan of Funko Pop videos, and it's just that you do them so much that I kind of get overwhelmed. But yeah, if you're doing reviews and stuff again, like I definitely want to come back for those. Um, let's see. Hey Ryan. Hey Dan. Ryan says, "Fear doesn't know what it's Fear doesn't know. Wait, what it's doing. Yeah, I agree, Ryan. I mean, like Fear, it's pacifying the characters. It's introducing too many characters. It's giving stupid deaths. It's having terrible villains, bad plot, and it has so much filler. Like the CRM was complete filler. You know, that's what season 5 should have been. Season 5 should have been them finding the CRM, helicopter, and the Fear group being taken to an outpost. Like that's what Fear season 5 should have been. But there's a chance they could do that for season 6, but I, I kind of doubt it. I don't think the writers are going to go that way. Dan says, very true. It needs to end, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, like, as much as I love Alicia, they should just end Fear and put those characters in the World Beyond or the Rick movies. Just do something with those characters. Like, that's good. Let's see. Ryan says Rick was very mean to Lori in season 3. Yeah, he was. I mean, I don't know if he could have prevented her death, but Rick was like in season 2. I'll admit, like Lori was the worst, but like season 3, I started noticing that she was changing, and she was more like like kinder to Rick. Not arguing with him about things, and I definitely think like Rick should have at least like established like I don't know like more of a connection with Lori just before she died, because I mean that was his wife. I mean, just man, I don't know. Just Lori has one of the saddest deaths, and in the show, and in season 3, she definitely was not anywhere near as likable as she was in season 2. And I have a feeling Dan might still disagree with me and say she's still was terrible in season 3, but I mean honestly, like she was okay in season 3. Epic Zombie Killer says, by the way, I wish in season 9 we would have seen Alpha catch the Pike victims instead of it being off screen. Um, well, I kind of disagree, Epic Zombie Killer. I mean, I think that the way they did it was shocking. Like, you know what I mean? Because we're like, how did she get them? I mean, sure, they can explain it, but I think the surprise is just so much better. But like I just think there was a problem with the victims, like how they did them and who died. But like that scene with the Pike deaths, it is just so awesome. Like it's so necessary to the franchise, and yeah, I mean it had to be done. Ryan's saying something to Epic Zombie Killer. Would have been awesome to see Henry go into the pipe room. Then Alpha comes out because we heard him say, "I need to go check the pipes." Yeah, I mean to be fair, Ryan, like we would have known that Henry was gonna die then, because I feel like it couldn't have been too obvious. Dan says, "Yeah, I know, right? It's like how did that go so well for Alpha. Yeah, I don't know, Dan. I mean, they could have maybe she had some more whispers with her, but I think that I don't know. It's just I guess no one was on guard in the fair because everyone was either going with not Alpha, sorry, Magna and her group, and Daryl and Carol and them outside the walls, or they were at the movie theater. So I'm guessing like no one was on guard, and they paid for it, man. I mean, they paid for it big time. Epic Zombie Killer says that's probably why he was so messed up after her death, because he was very mean to her before she died. Um, yeah, I mean, they could have. I don't know. I don't know if they mentioned that though in season 3. I mean, did they mention that? That like, did Rick say that he was just so upset with himself, like he should have been nicer to her? Um, correct me. Yeah, let me know if he did, because I don't really remember it too much. Let's see. And Dan says, yeah, he regrets it. Yeah, I'm sure he does, Dan. I mean, I would have. Ow, like unable to. Wait a minute, unable to connect to chat. Please try again later. I'm guessing that means I can't put a response. But you guys can still talk to me, right? I don't know why it says unable to connect to chat, but you guys can still uh, put some comments in. Let me see if it's still working. Just to make sure. Let's see. We've been going at this for an hour and 26 minutes now. I might extend the live stream like another 10 minutes or so if you guys want. And yeah, so we might end at like 11:10, 11:20 or something. If you guys want. But no, we're not like too close to 3 hours because I just can't make that time. But yeah, so yeah, if you guys are still with me, just yeah, if you can put another comment or two, because I just want to make sure it's still working. Let's see. Maybe I can type something in. I don't know why it says unable to connect. Let's see. Let's see. Let's try this. Wait. Let me try it again. Okay, I just put a. Okay, I just put a comment in. Can you guys comment as well? Do you guys see the hashtag #FixFear that I just put? I don't know why it says unable to connect the chat. Please try again later. Yeah, let me know if you guys are not getting it. Yeah, like maybe put this like if there's like a comment section in this video, like maybe put it there too. I don't know. Let's see. I'm gonna give it some time. Uh, let's see. Do you guys still hear me? Dan, Ryan, Eastside Badger, Epic Zombie Killer. Are you guys still with me? Do you guys hear me? Like, can you put something in the comments of this video? Not in the live stream, but the comment page, like lower. Let's see. I don't know why it's doing this. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. All right. Okay. So you guys, I can't see your comments in the page on my laptop, but I can see it on the phone. So I'm just gonna read it from the phone. Are you guys okay with that? All right. So Epic Zombie Killer says, by the way, the Walking Dead game I hate the most is The Walking Dead No Man's Land. I haven't played it, Epic Zombie Killer, but I will say, like, Survival Instinct is, like, definitely, like, my most hated Walking Dead game. It is just so bad. Let's see. Dan says, do you see this comment? I see it on my phone, Dan. Thank you guys for putting it. Let's see. Yeah, I see it on my phone, but not on my laptop page. I have no idea why. Let's see. I think let's see, my current buy rate is lower than the recommended buy rate. That's weird. But I can see your guys' comments and what you in the live chat. I can see it on my phone, so I'm gonna try that now. If you guys are cool with that. So Epic Zombie Killer says, I see it. Yes. Dan says, I can hear you. Oh, Giuseppe De Rosa. Glad you made it. Let's see. You say 7 viewers, improvement. Let's go. Yeah, I'm glad you're here, De Rosa. Like, I've missed you. Um, let's see. I'm sorry. By the way, do you guys get my notifications when I do live streams? Because I remember Eastside Badger says he couldn't get them, and I'm just gonna say, like, if you guys can try setting up and turning on the notification bell, maybe you guys will see my live streams, and I'll try to let you guys know when I do my live streams. I mostly watch Dan's reviews, and sometimes he asks me, or Eastside Badger asks me, when's my next live stream, and I'll tell you when one of you guys. Or actually, the best way, if you guys want to know when my live streams are, when this video ends, just in the comments section, maybe just ask me when my next live stream is gonna be, and I'll say it's gonna be like maybe Thursday night this week, and then sometime on Thursday you can check my page, and then you'll see that I have a live stream planned, that night. Maybe that will work if you guys don't get notifications. So Dan says No Man's Land is terrible. Yeah, I agree, Dan. Also, like, didn't they cancel it? And you say Survival Instinct is just weirdly done. Yeah, I mean, like, it's inconsistent with the show. Plus, like, Daryl looks like he did in season 3, and I don't know. It feels like a pointless game, and the graphics are terrible and the mechanics are bad. I mean, it's just really bad. Uh, oh, Epic Zombie Killer says, I wonder what made Survival Instinct so bad. Well, like I said, Epic Zombie Killer, it was just a pure cash grab. Like they did not work hard on the game, and like the walkers, they all like a lot of them look the same. They're so badly done, like they're ugly, and this is supposed to be the first few days of the apocalypse, so the walkers should not look like that. It's inconsistent. And plus, it's Daryl is like super tough. Like he kills like hundreds of walkers with a machine gun from a military van, and like Daryl should not. I don't know. He should not have been that tough back in the first few days, because when you see Daryl in season 1, he just doesn't seem like he was that tough. You know what I mean? Like if Daryl killed hundreds of zombies in season 1, like let's remember Rick still put him in a chokehold. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things. No, sorry, that was Shane. That was Shane. But what I'm saying, like it just feels inconsistent. But yeah, I mean it was a cash grab. They didn't work hard on it, so that's what made it so bad. DeRosa says, "I did. I was just busy, my dude." And then you say, "I see you got a profile picture." Yeah, my yeah, a good friend of mine, Stratalax, he helped me. He made a profile picture for me, and yeah, he did me a favor, and yeah, man, it was really nice of him to do, and yeah, I hope you guys like it. I mean, I like it. Let's see. Epic Zombie Killer says, I will agree the walker models in the game were atrocious. Yeah, I agree, Epic Zombie Killer. I mean, like, they just look so hideous. Like they look like they were years old zombies, and it's just the first few days, and they didn't even look like humans anymore. You know what I mean? They should have looked human, and yeah, it was bad. And plus, like, they reused the same model over and over again. Like, they use like a walker with short brown hair like many times in the game, but we never see different, like we never see you know zombies from different races. You know what I mean? So that, I don't know, that was just inconsistent. Eastside Badger says it went well for Alpha because their security was laid back and lots of commotion at the fair. With the fair, yeah, I agree, Eastside Badger. I mean, a lot of their fighters and guards went with Daryl, Carol, and Magnus group, and the rest went to the movie theaters. So it makes sense why. Dan says, by the way, guys, as of this Thursday, it'll be 1 month until The Walking Dead returns. That's great, Dan. I might do a live stream that night. I'm not really sure, but yeah, I mean, ask me, like, if you guys can ask me in the comments if I'm gonna do a live stream, like, on Thursday. I'll let you guys know. I just need like a day or two to figure it out. Eastside Badger says 4 weeks from Thursday. Yeah, I mean, this wait was like hard, but it was still like, I hope it's worth it, and I'm excited for The Walking Dead season 10 to return. DeRosa says the Telltale Walking Dead game is the only great game. Yeah, I mean, I agree, DeRosa. I mean, as far as Walking Dead games, that's pretty much it. And I don't know if you guys have seen Detroit Become Human, but like I would love a Walking Dead game like that. You know what I mean? Like multiple endings and just amazing like that. And I've said on this channel before, like they should do like a Red Dead Redemption Walking Dead game where they get like Rocksteady Games who made Red Dead Redemption 2 and get them to do a Walking Dead game, and that would just be amazing. By the way, let's see. By the way, guys, if you guys have played the Telltale games, like no, please no spoilers from anything past season 1 of the Telltale games because Dan has not played them, and I don't want him to be spoiled about seasons 2, 3, and 4 because, yeah, and I just don't want it like him to get spoiled with something. Let's see. Eastside Badger says, "I hear you." Dan says, "I can't wait to finally see the war." Yeah, I agree, Dan. I mean, we should have gotten it a little bit in the first half, but unfortunately we didn't. So yeah. De Rosa says, "What's the game Detroit about?" Well, it's called Detroit Become Human, and it's basically we play as 3 different characters, and they're androids. And what's interesting is the androids are, they look human, they act human, and they eventually break from their programming and act like real humans. And the game is basically to establish that the androids are more human than actual humans. And it's a really good game because there's multiple endings and there's choices, amazing graphics, and all the characters pretty much in that game are memorable, and it's just so well done. And if they made a Walking Dead game like that with those kind of graphics for the TV show, like if they made a Walking Dead game uh, in the TV universe with those graphics, it would be amazing. Like just like after this live stream, DeRosa, just look up Detroit Become Human, like just some basic stuff in the game, and if they made a TV Walking Dead game about it, like it would just be amazing. So let's see. Epic Zombie Killer says, "I'm sad. Overkill's The Walking Dead flopped because those trailers were amazing." Yeah, I agree, Epic Zombie Killer, but that's actually why the game flopped. I think they put so much hard work into the trailers that they didn't put any into the actual gameplay of the game. They made the trailers look like it was going to be another Last of Us, and when we saw it, it was another Survival Instinct. Like, that was terrible. They should not have made it first person. It should have been third person. Dan says, open world game would be epic. Yeah, I agree, Dan. I mean, like we've had like The Walking Dead has done choice-based games. We so need a open world Walking Dead game. I just don't understand why they're not doing one. Like I understand why they have to do the movies, but like if this was years ago, like maybe like forget the Walking Dead movies, forget Fear, forget World Beyond. Like we need a open world Walking Dead game. And like maybe we can play as Rick. Like I don't know, like would you guys like a game in the TV universe where we play as Rick instead? Like, you guys would like that more? Like, yeah, just let me know if you guys would like that more. Like, what if instead of the movies, they actually have a open world Walking Dead game where we play as Rick and he's with the CRM? Like, that's kind of tricky to do because how can you make it open world? Because the CRM, I don't think they want to let people escape the community. So I don't know. That's gonna be kind of tricky. But let me know if you guys would like to see that. Let's see. Dan says, Epic Zombie Killer. Oh, yeah, I was really looking forward to that. I mean, I wasn't looking forward to that, Dan, because I knew the game was going to be terrible. I knew, like, I saw the trailers and I was amazed, but I saw the gameplay and was so disappointed. Let's see. Eastside Badger says, we should do a live stream during the premiere of World Beyond. Well, maybe Eastside Badger, but when The Walking Dead comes back, I think I'm just gonna do the reviews like I normally do on my channel, but I might do like 30-minute live streams. The thing is, I don't want to do live streams when Ronnie Hayes from It Make a Pat Presents does his live streams, because like I don't like if you guys want to be there, like I don't want to keep you. Like I want to do live streams when people are not doing it, when it's like more quiet in the night. You know what I'm saying? But I'll think about it. But yeah. Epic Zombie Killer says it's funny how The Walking Dead Road to Survival was based off the comics, where The Walking Dead No Man's Land, based on the show, failed. Um, I'm kind of Oh, right, No Man's Land was based on the show. Yeah, that's true. Also, like Epic Zombie Killer, wasn't No Man's Land like weren't the advertisements? Didn't they tease like choices? Like, cause I remember seeing like ads where you play as different characters and you get choices. Do you use the last bullet to put your father out of his misery? Like that's a choice I saw in an ad. And I don't know. I just don't understand. If that is, let me know. But I don't know. It's confusing. Epic Zombie Killer says also there is Pokemon Go style The Walking Dead Our World. Yeah, I heard about that, Epic Zombie Killer. I honestly didn't really care. Dan says to Eastside Badger, it would probably be a bunch of complaining. Yeah, LOL. I mean, there's a chance I'll like some of the characters in World Beyond. I mean, I might like Hope, the girl with long brown hair. I mean, I might like her, like, what I mean? It's possible, and I might like the guy Felix. I might like, from what I see, maybe they'll be my favorite characters, but it doesn't look good, unfortunately, and yeah, I don't know how they're gonna come off. Let's see. Uh, Epic Zombie Killer says The Walking Dead Road to Survival was successful. No Man's Land failed. Yeah. DeRosa says Road to Survival was cool because it had all the characters. Yeah, it had the characters from the comic, from the games, from everything, but it wasn't canon. Like, that was one problem. It wasn't canon with the comics universe, so that was a little weird. Dan says, honestly, I enjoy your streams more than Ronnie's streams because he almost never answers the comments or questions. Yeah, I know, Dan. That's unfortunate, and that's very true. That's kind of annoying. I mean, like, he says like to put at MakeAPath Presents, and I do that, but he misses like half my questions, and like even if I'm like one of the first people there, he still misses them. So that's kind of tough. I mean, it makes sense because there's a lot, but at least with my streams, like I won't miss your guys, replies because we're small and every one of your opinions is valid. So yeah, let's see. DeRosa says, "I wish The Walking Dead ended with Rick and Carl." Yeah, I mean, do you mean like what time would you have liked it to end with Rick and Carl? Um, I mean, it should have ended with Carl, but like, would you have ended it in season 7? Like, when would you have ended it, DeRosa? Let's see. Eastside Badger says Ronnie just sits and vapes. And let's see, DeRosa says Ronnie talks a lot. Yeah, he talks about things that are not really related to The Walking Dead or the streams. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's how he wants to do it, but I don't really want to do that with my streams. I want you guys to get as much enjoyment out of it as possible. Epic Zombie Killer says, "Why were you not interested in The Walking Dead Our World?" Um, I just like let's see, if it's like Pokemon Go, like I'm just not gonna go out and like, what I mean, like take my phone out in public and just play it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna like leave my house and just, what I mean, like do it. It just wasn't my thing. Like I like open world games and choice based games. Like those are my two favorite games. Like type of games. But yeah, DeRosa says, let's see, he says Trev's Chan is the ultimate Walking Dead YouTuber. Um, yeah, I mean he's loyal to it. I'll give him that. Let's see. DeRosa says the best one in my opinion. Oh, oh, DeRosa, you wound me. I'm just kidding, man. Um, yeah, he's got the subscribers and he's got the attention. But I don't know. AMC doesn't really acknowledge him because I don't know. Like you think they would acknowledge him? You think they would at least bring him on the show, like on Talking Dead or something? But I don't know. It's weird. Eastside Badger says Trev's Chan is definitely better than Ronnie. Way better. I mean, I really like both of them, but I'll say Trev's Chan is definitely more loyal to The Walking Dead. I would say Ronnie is somewhat loyal to The Walking Dead, or but not like. I would say yeah, Trev's Chan is more loyal. Dan says, yeah, Trev is awesome. He actually answers my comments. Yeah, that's true, Dan. I mean that is true. Although he doesn't do many live streams. And oh, by the way, he's never played the Telltale games. And I will say Ronnie Hayes has definitely did this better than Trev. He Ronnie Hayes has actually played all 4 seasons of the Walking Dead Telltale game, but Trev hasn't made the time for it. And I'm sorry, but that is one issue that Trev needs to fix. He has to play. I mean, if he has time to watch Fear, he definitely has time to play the Telltale games because they are so much better than Fear. Yeah, I mean, personally, that's my opinion, but I'm sure you guys will agree. Dan says, Trev makes great content, by the way. He finally, after all this time, got The Walking Dead Season 9 on Blu-ray. Yeah, I remember that. And he said, he like in the video, it says farewell to Rick, but I'm like, what about Ken? Like, come on, Trev. Like, are you forgetting the best, character that season? Like, short-lived character that season? I mean, come on. Like, where's the love? Yeah. I mean, I saw the video, and yeah, Season 9 was amazing. Epic Zombie Killer says, yeah, only thing is Trev's Chantu rarely answers my questions during his Q&As. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's sorry about that, Epic Zombie Killer. Like, yeah, I mean, that happens unfortunately, and I don't know. There's a trick to it, but I don't know what the trick is to getting answered. Let's see. DeRosa says the trick is you need to ask the question right after he uploads. Yeah, but I've tried that too, but sometimes I don't even get like I don't my comment doesn't even get picked. So it honestly just depends what comment. Like if it's a joke, you're gonna get a lot of likes up, and you'll get picked. So that's how it kind of works. Epic Zombie Killer says, by the way, I do love that the Telltale Walking Dead games are canon to the comics. Yeah, I love that too, Epic Zombie Killer. The only thing I don't like is the whole Lily thing. That is one issue I have. That's the only part of it that's kind of weird with the canon, because if you don't know, Robert Kirkman, like, he made Lily in the comic, like, so the Lily in The Walking Dead season 1, she's supposed to be the same Lily that kills Lori in the comics, as well as Judith. But Robert Kirkman, I don't know what happened, and I mean, actually, I do. So apparently Robert Kirkman sold the rights to the character Lily to both, like, the people who made the novels and to Telltale Games, and there was this whole issue. There was this whole scandal, and so to make it simple, Kirkman just said that the Lily in the video game is a different Lily, and it's dumb because they look the same, they act the same, they both have a military background, and it's just, and they have like similar personalities, so that's unfortunate, and that is one thing where it's a bit of an issue. But yeah, the games are canon to the comics, but they do have some issues as well, like as far as the games being canon. But it's not too bad. Dan says, yeah, I try for that too, Giuseppe. Yeah, I try that too, Dan. It's hard though. I mean, unless you make an amazing joke, you're probably not going to get a lot of likes on your comment. Eastside Badger says, I would love an open world Walking Dead game, but with the show's popularity slipping, I doubt anyone would take on the product. Well, I mean, probably Eastside Badger, but you never know. I mean, they're doing the Rick movies, and if they can do the movies, I mean, can't they do a Walking Dead open world game? Like, I mean, sure, the popularity is going down, but even people who don't watch The Walking Dead, they'll see an open world zombie game and be like, okay, I want to give this a try. So, I mean, just trying to be positive. Dan says, yeah, unfortunately, you're probably right. Yeah, I'm guessing you're talking about the Walking Dead game probably not working. I mean, yeah, but I would just so love to see a TV game where it's in the TV universe, and either it's choice-based game or open world or both, and maybe it's either a different cast of characters, or we play as Rick or we play as someone else. But I'm not sure. So yeah. Epic Zombie Killer says, so apparently in the comics Glenn was with Lee's group before joining Rick's. Yeah, that's true, Epic Zombie Killer. It was like he was with Lee's group for like a few days and then went with Rick's group. And I guess it makes sense why he never mentions them in the comics. Oh, by the way, I'm going to say one reason. Okay, I'm going to say partially why the games are not technically canon to the comics, and just hear me out. So when Lee and Clementine are at Herschel's farm, yeah, so when they're at Herschel's farm, we don't see any of Maggie's other siblings. We only see like we only see Herschel and Sean, and we don't see Maggie's siblings. We don't see her. We don't see her two brothers and her sister Lacey. Like, we don't see them, and they don't even get mentioned. And when Sean dies, like, they're nowhere to be seen. So that is one issue with the games, and unfortunately, that's partially why the games are not entirely canon, because like, it doesn't make sense for Sean to die right there and Maggie's siblings just nowhere to be found. Like, that's one issue. Like, let me know if you guys notice that too in the Telltale game, because that is one issue with the games, and that's unfortunately not canon. Like, we should have seen Maggie's other siblings. You know, her brothers, her sister. Like, I don't understand. Oh, Maggie too. We should have definitely seen Maggie in the comics, from the comics, in the video game. Like, I would have loved to see that. And let's see. Epic Zombie Killer says, "Yeah, that was weird. I don't understand that." Yeah, I don't understand that either, Epic Zombie Killer. I mean, I don't know. Don't get me wrong. Season 1 was like amazing, like perfect game. But when I look back on it, like that was one issue, and I was thinking like, where was Maggie, and their siblings, Sean died, and no one was there except Herschel, like from his family. Not even Maggie. Like, and Herschel even says like that, they were in the house, the green kids. So I don't understand why they didn't come out. Like, there was Herschel shot his shotgun several times. There was screaming. I mean, we don't see Maggie anywhere. Like, at least, and I would have loved it if we could have seen like Maggie's other siblings that we never got. Like, if we could have had a conversation with Maggie's other siblings, like that would have been amazing. Like, I would have loved. So besides Maggie, like I really loved her Billy Green from the comics, and I would have loved to talk to him in the video game. Like that would have been amazing. And they kind of did that with Sean. Like in the comics, we don't like Sean. Sean is just a zombie, and all we know is that he's Herschel's oldest son and child. But in the game, we actually see that he has some personality, and unfortunately they kill him off, but it makes sense. It's canon with the comics. But what isn't canon is why, his family isn't there. The rest of his family. That's just so weird. Like I don't understand that. It would have been nice to see Maggie and Billy and. Man, I really would have loved to see those two and interact with them. That would have been interesting, because we never got much of Maggie's siblings in the comics. So yeah, and Dan says, yeah, that was done weird. I agree, Dan. Sorry, I kind of went on a rant there, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Epic Zombie Killer says, also, I don't understand why they ran into cannibals. That was way too early for cannibals. Well, actually, Epic Zombie Killer, that's one of my favorite episodes still. And as far as like the whole cannibals thing, like it's not the same as with Garrett and the hunters. Actually, no, it actually is the same. So in the comics, the hunters became hunters because they had to, very grossly, they had to eat their own kids, and because of that, they lost their sanity and decided we might as well just eat anyone else. Like there's no morals, they'd have no morals anymore, and it was easier than hunting animals, so they decided to do that. But in the show, Garrett and them decided that you're either the butcher or the cattle. And as far as in the video game, they said, so in the video game, the cannibals were like, well, the walkers are dead and they're eating, and that meat's going to waste. We should put it to better use. So it kind of makes sense in the video game, sort of, why that happened. Plus, I think like the father of the family died, so I guess like they went crazy because of that too. So I mean that kind of works. Eastside Badger says that's all for me tonight, guys. Enjoyed the stream. Good night. All right. Good night, Eastside Badger. Thanks for stopping by, man. I appreciate it. And if you want to know like when's my next live stream, like after tonight, sometime tomorrow, just ask or reply in the comments. And yeah, in this video, in the comment section of this video, just ask me when the next live stream is, and I'm gonna have an answer for you guys sometime, tomorrow. And yeah, I'm thinking like maybe Thursday night. So we'll see. But yeah, thanks, Eastside Badger. I appreciate it, man. Good night. Dan says, now that's a messed up group. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the cannibals from the comics? Yeah, I agree, Dan. I mean, that is so messed up. Epic Zombie Killer says, the only thing is when Herschel checks Lee's leg, he does mention to Sean to check on his sister. Yeah, but it's like which sister? He has more than one. And also, like, where was that sister when Sean was dying? Where was she when, Sean died? And, like, I just don't know. Like, that was, I get what they were trying to do, but what they should have done is they should have, animated Sean's other siblings, Maggie, Billy, and they should have had them, they should have had voice actors for them, and we should have interacted with them. And I get that. He does say to check on his sister, but Sean should have been like, well, which sister? I have more than one, Yeah, I don't understand that, Epic Zombie Killer. I mean, it just feels like that scene feels kind of lazy, like they didn't want to have Maggie and her other siblings, but that was a mistake. Dan says, good night, Badger. Yeah, good night, Eastside Badger. Thank you so much for coming, and uh, yeah, man, I appreciate it, and yeah, I think I'm gonna do night live streams from now on, like 9 to 11 or 12 instead of like 8 or 7 or 8. Like I think like that's not a good time. So yeah. All right. Looks like we're all cut up now. Let's see. I was thinking about ending it soon. Let's see. Oh, Epic Zombie Killer says just saying episode 1 and 2 were at the beginning of the apocalypse, so it's early for cannibals. Yeah, episode 1 was the first few days, but episode 1 and 2 had that time skip of 3 months, and 3 months in the apocalypse and having cannibals, that kind of makes sense, you know? Like 3 months in the apocalypse, if you think about it, that makes a little bit of sense. It's still, yeah, I'll admit, it's early, but they don't become cannibals because they're low on food. They do it because I think the father of the family died and they just went crazy. Like, I don't know what happened. Plus, I think like they were losing their cattle too, and I don't know, those farmers just went crazy. I mean, I still don't know, but yeah, I'll agree. Epic Zombie Killer. I mean, it was kind of early in the apocalypse. Maybe that should have been like, maybe episode 2 should have been like during the winter, and they said like it's 6 months later in the apocalypse instead of 3 months, and then the story should have like looked like the thumbnail I have in the video. Like it should have been snowing and cold, and that way it makes more sense, I guess. But yeah, so if you guys, I'm thinking about ending it pretty soon. Maybe ending the stream early. I mean, if you guys, just saying, if you guys have anything, if you guys have to go, just let me know. No pressure. I'll totally understand. And yeah, as far as like, I think I might end the next couple of minutes, unless you guys really want me to keep going. You know. So yeah, let's see. I think I'm gonna take a sip of water real quick. Uh, let's see. Anything? No. Oh, Epic Zombie Killer says, but yeah, I'm curious as to why you hated the Michonne miniseries that Telltale did. Uh, Thank you for the question, Epic Zombie Killer. So the problem with the Michonne Telltale game was on my iPhone I actually paid full price for it, but when I was playing episode 1, it crashed always at the like 10-15 minute mark, and so I paid full price for the Michonne game, and I could never play it because it kept crashing on me on my iPhone, and I never understood that. I even deleted things, I even made room for it, but it still kept crashing on me, and I never got to play the full game on my iPhone. I never did. So I paid full price for nothing, and I'm sorry, but Telltale, they ripped me off there. And as far as why the Michonne game was terrible, I don't want to spoil it for Dan, but it raises a lot of questions, and it doesn't really establish anything too much. Um, I mean, like, so let's see. The story, like, the villain's not great. She's not a great villain, and I don't understand why Michonne was like by herself. Like, that's one issue I have, and there's some inconsistencies, and the characters do stupid things in that story, and there's also plot holes. I can't really go into it here, but let's just say that when Michonne and Pete find this thing, like I was like, well, how did that get there? Like, how did that happen? And it's kind of a plot hole, and I don't know. It's a bit of an issue, and like I said, there are plot holes, and oh, glitches too. There were so many glitches I had with the Michonne game. It didn't just crash. There was so many glitches, and we also don't see a lot of those characters come back ever again. So like the Michonne game just has like I mean, besides Michonne and Pete, they're pretty much the only characters from the comic in that game. So that's one issue I had with it too. Yeah, I hope you understand. I mean, it crashed on me, it glitched, and it just didn't add anything to the story. Dan says, if there's a stream on Thursday, I'll be there. Well, I'm glad to hear it, Dan. I'm definitely thinking about doing a second stream this week on Thursday. I'll yeah, just ask me some time in the comment section. Like, just ask me some time, and I'll get back to you with confirmation. Epic Zombie Killer says maybe Telltale just felt like having the rest of Sean's family would have been a waste since you don't spend that much time at the farm. Yeah, I agree, Epic Zombie Killer, but the problem is it still breaks the immersion. Like, you know what I mean? Like, think about Beth. Like, if we didn't see Beth at all in like season two, like, would that have been weird? Like, sure, Beth is not. Like, imagine if Rick brought Carl to the farm and we don't see Beth for like several episodes, and then all of a sudden they bring Beth and it's like, oh, this is Maggie's sister. Like, where was she episodes ago? You know what I mean? And I get it, but we don't spend too much time on the farm. But the thing is, we could have interacted with Maggie from the comic. We could have talked to Billy, and Billy is one of my favorite characters from the comic. And besides Maggie, he's like my favorite other, in the family, And yeah, I just feel like we could have gotten more from Sean's family because in the comic they were just killed off. Like they were just, killed off like nothing, like as if they were background extras. But they were. This was Maggie's family. So I think we could have gotten more from them. Let's see. Epic Zombie Killer says also in that game, Michonne was using a machete. Yeah, I understand that, Epic Zombie Killer. That's not an issue, but sometimes when she's killing walkers, it's very inconsistent. Like sometimes Michonne stabs a walker in the head, and it won't like cut through, and then sometimes she cuts a walker's head off easy. So it's the machete is very inconsistent when how sharp it is. You know what I mean? So that's an issue I have. Let's see. Epic Zombie Killer says also, I do like how they changed the layout of the farm from the comics to the show. Yeah, I agree, Epic Zombie Killer. I mean, in the comic, it kind of felt fake, like, farm looking like that, but the show kind of felt more real. But, I mean, there were some issues with both of them, and I so wish we could have gotten to see the farm again in the show, but we never got to do that, unfortunately, because I think there was like some lawsuit or something, or like that's actually a person's house and people were actually, you know, coming on private property or something. They didn't know or something. I don't know. It was just weird. But yeah, I mean the farm layout is changed, but I don't know. Like it works. I mean, I don't know. I think one thing though I'll say the comic did better. They had more members of Maggie's family. That's one thing I like about the comic more. The show definitely could have. They definitely should have had like a brother or something for Maggie because instead of Beth, like would you guys have liked to see Billy? You know, Billy Green. Maggie's youngest brother. Would you guys have liked to see that in the show instead of Beth? Just let me know. Dan says in the show it lasted too long though. Yeah, I mean I agree, Dan, but if you think about it, the characters were really only on the farm for like 2 weeks, so that's that's pretty low too, somewhat. Like they didn't stay on the show long, as far as like, to them, but to us, yeah, they did stay on the show for on the farm for a while. Let's see. Oh wow, we're on 2 hours and 2 minutes now. Yeah. Do you guys want to keep going? I'm just curious. Who's still here? Epic Zombie Killer says, like, yeah, in the comics they did return to the farm. In the comics, that's where they met Abraham. I wonder why they skipped that in the show. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure, Epic Zombie Killer. I think there was like an issue with the farm, like the property or something, and they couldn't come back to that. But that was a mistake. I would have loved to see the farm. Like, imagine if they came back to the farm, the barn was burned down, and a lot of the field was, but the house was still mostly intact, or maybe had some fire damage, and Maggie would come back to the farm, see all the pictures, and her family's dead. Like, they could have done something like that. Dan says, I rather Billy than useless Beth, lol. I mean, honestly, Dan, I'm not going to disagree with you. I mean, Billy, he was one of my favorite characters from the comic, and I definitely think, like, they had some issues with Beth, but I think, like, I don't know. I think that, yeah, Billy could have been a better character than Beth as far as if he was in the show. And even if I mean, I would have taken Billy and Beth, honestly. Like, both of them. I would have taken both of them, but yeah. Epic Zombie Killer says yes. I'm assuming you're talking about if you rather see Billy on, have rather have seen Billy on the show than Beth. And honestly, I kind of agree. I mean, I didn't hate Beth, but I don't know. She wasn't that interesting. But and she was a TV character. But Billy, he was pretty interesting, even for a comic character. So if he was in the show, like I think he would have been a lot more interesting. Yeah, and let's see. That's pretty much it, I think. I think I'm going to end it in a couple minutes just to let you guys know. I mean, if you guys want me to keep going for another 10 minutes, just let me know. I think I could do another 10 minutes if you guys really want me to. And but yeah, I do have to end it soon. Epic Zombie Killer says like, yeah, I'm sure the house is fine because only the barn caught on fire and it was a great distance from the house. Yeah, I agree, Epic Zombie Killer. Like, I don't understand why the characters in the story did not go back and yeah, I don't understand why the characters after Beth died, like, I don't know, did they go back to the farm and bury her like off screen? Because we never actually saw them bury Beth. You know, I'm just saying like hypothetically, because they were still in the Atlanta area. And we never got to see where they actually buried Beth. I don't think. Epic Zombie Killer says no. I want you to keep going. Um, well, thanks, Epic Zombie Killer. I'm gonna keep going for, let's see, maybe another 10, 20 minutes maybe. I think I can do that if you guys are cool with it. We might end it around maybe 2.5 hours. Um, one of these days, I do want to do like a 3-hour live stream. Let me know if you guys want to see that. But yeah, sometime I want to start at 9 and end at 12. So I definitely want to try that sometime, but not tonight. Um, and maybe not Thursday either, but sometime before The Walking Dead returns. Because when The Walking Dead season 10 returns, it's going to be Walking Dead episodes for the rest of the year, and I don't think I'm going to have time for live streams. But we'll see. Or I'll probably have time for live streams, but they're going to be a lot shorter, like maybe 30 minutes. So I'm going to try and get like a 3-hour live stream done, just sometime before yeah, the Walking Dead returns. Epic Zombie Killer says that would have made sense to bury Beth at the farm next to her mother. Yeah, man, Epic Zombie Killer, that just makes me sad. We never really got to see Beth's mother, but I mean, I don't know. I think it's possible. Like, at least in my canon, at least in my head canon, like personally, I think it's very possible that they could have went to the farm and buried Beth. Like, I just think it's very possible because we never got to see where they buried her. They didn't address that. I don't know. It was kind of weird. They kind of skipped over Beth's funeral because they wanted to make us think it was Beth's funeral, but it was actually Tyrese's funeral next episode. Dan says, "I wish we could have seen that though." Yeah, Dan. Would have really enjoyed that. I think that we definitely should have seen the characters on the farm. And actually, now that I think about it, I think like I mean we could have had a few episodes on the farm. Maggie is. We could have had a few episodes on the farm, and they bury Beth. Maybe they could have done the Maggie tries to kill herself scene, or they could have had a scene where Maggie's in a different barn or something, and she trips, hits her head, and she's not breathing. And we could have had a scene from the comic where Abraham tries to stop Maggie from turning, but Glenn, stops him. I don't know. We could have had that. That would have been really interesting to see because uh, I don't know. Like, I feel like I like to see more from the comic than what we got in the show. I mean, Abraham punched Glenn. I'm sorry. Uh, Glenn punched Abraham both in the comic and show, but I feel like the comic did it so much better because in the comic he was actually protecting his wife, whereas in the show he was just, you know, basically telling Abraham like, that's my wife out there. I'm not leaving her behind. Epic Zombie Killer says like because I'm sure the walkers that overrun the farm in season 2, they definitely have to be gone by now. Yeah, I agree, Epic Zombie Killer. There's no way that after almost 2 years those walkers would still be there. At least not as many as there were before. So I don't know why the group never went back to the farm. Like they know that there's supplies in the farm. Sure, there's not any animals left, but there should still be some dry food and some canned stuff and supplies. And they could have gathered some stuff from the farm and left. I don't know. Could Scott Gimple really not have worked out some sort of deal with the house? And even if they couldn't do that, like I don't know, maybe they could have filmed at somewhere else, like a different farm, but they could be careful and not show us the house. Or like maybe they could have CGI the house from a distance and we only see the inside like of the house in certain areas. Like maybe they could have built the house from scratch or something in a different farm. I don't know. They could have done something like that. Let me know if you guys think that would have worked because I think that could have worked in some way. They could have found a way around that. Because I think they couldn't use the real property because there was some issues. Dan says, "I'd love to see the farm in season 10. Just imagine how crazy it would be." Oh man, I mean, I have no idea, Dan. I mean, I would say like there would be like grass and like vines growing all over the house. Definitely something like that. And oh, Shane's corpse. It would just be bones now. Think about that, guys. Shane's body would just be bones now. That would be crazy. Like, oh man, imagine a character goes back to the farm and sees a skeleton on the field and with a jacket, like the same jacket that Shane died in, and it's like, oh, that is Shane. You know, can you imagine that? Would you guys have loved to see that? I'm sure you guys probably would. Epic Zombie Killer says, also, I wonder if they'll ever repair or go back to the kingdom. Um, I'm going to say probably not Epic Zombie Killer because I think one of the problems that Scott Gimple did was he introduced too many communities and they didn't have the budget for it. And Angela King, I think she fixed that by shrinking the number of communities because now we only have Alexandria and Hilltop because we have Oceanside too, but we barely see that. So Angela King, she took out the Sanctuary, took out the Junkyard Group and the Kingdom. So I think Angela King was just trimming the fat in the communities. But yeah, I don't think they're ever going to go back and repair it. Plus, I don't know if they have enough survivors. I mean, with the Whisper War, they're probably not going to have as many people left to go back and fix it, you know? But thank you for the comment. You say, also, I wonder what the original Atlanta group would look like now. I'm talking about the one from season 1. Oh, yeah, you were talking about the camp. Yeah, I mean, I think they took all their stuff, pretty sure, but yeah. Um, yeah, it wouldn't look too much different. I mean, it was in a forest. Dan says, I would freak out if we ever saw that. That would be awesome to see the farm, but obviously we will never happen. Yeah, I'm guessing you're talking about when I mentioned the whole Shane's skeleton thing. But yeah, I mean, that would have been so interesting. I don't get why. I don't know. Like, I don't know if it was Gimple's fault, but he should have brought the characters back to the farm. Like, instead of like, I don't know, at least in the best storyline, like they could have at least given it a couple episodes, or actually, after the prison in season 4, after the prison falls, they could have had the farm in the second half of season 4, and that's how. And season 4 could end with Rick's group leaving the farm, or the whole cannibal storyline. Like, you would have to shorten like some things, but I think that we could have had the farm in the second half of season 4. I think they could have done that. And also, I don't understand why they didn't go back to the farm, like when they got separated from the prison, because that should be like pretty close to. I'm pretty sure the farm and the prison, they're supposed to be pretty close together. So I don't know. The characters definitely should have went back to the farm after the prison fell. I don't know. Yeah, that's really weird. And yeah, it sucks that we never got to see it on the show. I mean, it's not the worst thing ever, but like they showed us Atlanta again in season 5, and I feel like I would have rather had the farm in season 4 or 5 than Atlanta, because like at least they would have a reason for going to the farm, and plus, you know, the farm is maybe it's not as nostalgic as Atlanta, but the farm makes more sense for practical reasons. There's supplies there. It's a connection to season 2, and it ties into Maggie, and plus Abraham and Rosita and Eugene they arrived there in the comics, so it makes sense to adapt that storyline. So I don't know. Let's see. It says that there's 5 people watching now, but I'm only seeing Dan and Epic Zombie Killer. I wonder if DeRosa, did you leave the live stream? Just curious. You probably didn't, but yeah, just so you know, I'm gonna end it soon. Dan says, oh wait, no, almost forgot. Epic Zombie Killer says that's what I don't get about season 2. They boarded the house up and then just left. Um, yeah, I don't know. That was weird, Epic Zombie Killer, because like the farm, the house should still be intact completely, and they definitely could have made their stand in the inside of the house. Like, imagine like right now, if the survivors were trapped in a boarded house and there were 300 zombies, you know, surrounding the house, I think they could take them. You know what I mean? But obviously back then they couldn't. But I'm just saying, like, that could have worked in a way. You know, I don't know. They could have made it work. Like, they should have stayed in the house and survived. Dan says, I know, Ray. Epic Zombie Killer says, I will say I love seeing the iconic shot from season 1 of the highway, and it's all decayed and destroyed. Yeah, I agree, Epic Zombie Killer, but would you have liked it more if they went back to the farm and we have Carl maybe Carl's walking in a field and he sees a skeleton, and it's Shane. You know what I mean? And we see Maggie, or like we see Carol walking around, and she sees the burned farm, and she thinks back like this is where Sophia, or maybe even the graves, like looks at Sophia's grave, like all this other stuff they could have done. You know what I mean? I think I would have liked that more than just one iconic shot. Dan says, imagine it now after all these years. Oh man, Dan, I don't know if I can. I mean, it's probably got vines like everywhere in the house. Like, it's probably completely covered. I mean, who knows? Um, but yeah, I mean, it's who knows how it looks now. But yeah, it should not be burned. I'm pretty sure it's probably all green now. Even the burned parts, from the barn, even that should still have some grass. After all these years. It's crazy. It's been like almost 11 years. Um, let's see. We've been going on for 2 hours and 15 minutes now. I think I want to give it. Yeah, I think I want to give it like another 5 minutes. I think that's good. What do you guys think? Another 5 minutes? I know I said like maybe I'll like keep going until 11:30, but my head's starting to hurt, and yeah, I think I want to end it in like 5 minutes. Hope you guys understand. And thank you guys so much for coming. Let's see. Epic Zombie Killer says it looked like a house from The Last of Us. Yeah, I agree, Epic Zombie Killer. I mean, in The Last of Us, pretty much every house had like moss, grass, vines growing on it, and I love that about The Last of Us. And sometimes in The Walking Dead they do that right, but sometimes they don't. Like when Daryl and them were going to get medicine, he found a car underneath a bunch of vines, but there were only 2 years in the apocalypse. Like it was too early to have that many vines on a car that was still working. So that's one problem I had. You know what I mean? Let's see. Dan says probably, and Dan says I need to go. I need to go soon anyway. Yeah, I understand, Dan. And honestly, my head's starting to hurt, and I gotta get ready and do some things. But yeah, and I appreciate you. Being on the live stream with me this long. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much, and I can't wait for your video tomorrow. And yeah, so let's see. We got about 3-4 more minutes. Um, if you guys have any last things to say. But yeah, man. I mean, I cannot wait for The Walking Dead season 10 to return. I just hope that Angela King. I will say this. I hope she doesn't kill off the wrong characters. Like don't kill off Dog. Don't kill off Jerry. Don't kill off Connie. Don't kill off the likable minor characters like this. But also don't kill off too many main characters. Like don't kill off Rosita, Gabriel, like who else? Like who else do we have? Like Alden, Aaron, like you know what I mean? Like don't go super crazy. Let's see. Epic Zombie Co says, "Hey Brian, The Walking Dead versus Game of Thrones. Which do you prefer?" Uh, definitely Walking Dead. Game of Thrones had a terrible last 2-3 seasons. Maybe I mean I don't know about 2 or 3, but definitely the last 2 seasons were really badly done. And that's the thing about The Walking Dead. Uh, they were able to get back those viewers, or at least some of them, after season 7 and 8. But Game of Thrones could never do that. Like they rushed the ending so much. But The Walking Dead, I'd rather have like too slow than too fast. And Game of Thrones just messed up big time. But I do love Game of Thrones. Season 1 to 4 were like perfect. Thank you for the question. Dan says, well, let's hope season 10 is better. Yeah, I agree. For me, it's Walking Dead all the way. Yeah, I agree, Dan. I mean, like The Walking Dead, like it follows a comic. Oh, like also unlike the books for Game of Thrones, like Robert Kirkman actually finished the ending, and at least we know that an ending is most likely coming for The Walking Dead. And The Walking Dead comic ended so well, but Game of Thrones, the show, it ended so horrible. And I'm sure the show will end somewhere like that. So yeah, The Walking Dead, even though we haven't seen it, its ending is probably going to be so much better than Game of Thrones. Epic Zombie Killer says, because yeah, I see if Dog dies, I see more people are dropping off the show. Yeah, I agree, Epic Zombie Killer. You can't just kill off like likable characters like that too soon. And it's a dog too. I mean, we've had so many horses on this show die. We've had Shiva die. Like just enough. Like no more killing animals. You know what I mean? Just keep the animals. Just don't give them like a brutal death, especially not too soon. Like just don't. It's just wrong. I mean, they didn't kill off Judith. I mean, yeah, I mean that's probably why they didn't kill off Judith. They didn't want viewers to drop. So yeah. Let's see. I'm going to. You know what? I think I'm going to end it here actually. Let's see. It's been almost 2 hours and 20 minutes now. I think I'm going to end it. Thank you so much, Epic Zombie Killer and Dan. Oh wait, Epic Zombie Killer says, like, I'm hoping if season 12 is the final season, dog better make it to the series finale. Yeah, I would love it if Judith is like an adult, or at least she's like 18 or something, and dog is like, he's an old dog, like really old on the porch, and like we see he has like kids and stuff, like little pups too. Like I would just love that. That would be so cute. Like give dog a happy ending. You know what I mean? Like just give that to him. That would be so nice. That would really help people love the ending so much. I mean, keeping a dog that helps. Dan says thanks for the stream. Well, you're very welcome, Dan. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's not easy to stick around for 2 hours. And Epic Zombie Killer says, yeah, I don't understand why they keep killing animals. Neither do I, Epic Zombie Killer. But let's hope they take my ending where they keep Dog for the final episode, and he's got like little pups or something. And yeah, I'm sure people will love that ending. Yeah. So oh, you say because I know Judith is attached to Dog. Yeah, exactly. I mean, so are we. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Epic Zombie Killer and Dan, and DeRosa, and Eastside Badger, and anyone else who came. I'm pretty sure that's all of you guys. But thank you so much for coming to my live stream. And like I said, I'm not sure when the next live stream is, but it's probably going to be Thursday. I'll let you guys know ahead of time. Just comment when the next live stream is coming, and I'll give you a confirmation. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and I'm gonna end it here. But yeah, don't worry, guys. Another live stream this week, and yeah, I really had fun, guys. And yeah, thank you so much for the awesome comments and questions. I really appreciate it. So yeah, Epic Zombie Killer says bye. See you next stream. All right, bye, sorry, bye, Epic Zombie Killer. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm gonna end it here because honestly, I'm tired. I'm burning up, and yeah, man, I'm exhausted. But yeah, thank you so much. And Dan says, see you tomorrow. Yeah, Dan, I'll see you tomorrow. Looking forward to your video. I think top 10 worst episodes. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and have a good night. Bye.